Good evening, football fans. Brian Sweeney welcoming you to the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Tonight, we present the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game. Tonight, the 6-0 Boston Renegades are looking to win their third straight championship, and in their way is the 8-0 Minnesota Vixen, who are looking to win their first of their storied history. With me, as always, is a two-time women's football gold medalist and Hall of Famer, Donna Wilkinson. Donna, this is the marquee matchup that fans of women's football have been waiting to see, and I do not expect this game to disappoint.
Well, Brian, the Boston Renegades are flying high into Canton, Ohio, arriving on the New England Patriots private jet that owner Robert Kraft offered to the team, who is playing for their third straight national championship trophy and sixth overall in franchise history. The Minnesota Vixens come in as the longest running football team in the nation and are looking for their first national championship victory after coming up short in their previous two championship appearances. Now, Boston is led by quarterback Allison Cahill, who has been referred to as the Tom Brady of women's football, and finished the season with 967 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 142.5. Minnesota comes in with a balanced attack on offense led by running back Grace Cooper, who finished the regular season with 904 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. Brian, I am really looking forward to this matchup tonight from the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium here in Canton, Ohio.
And everybody joining us on For the Fans Next Network, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. We also want to give a shout out to everybody watching on the WFA YouTube channel as well. Aiden Nation brings you the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game, brought to you by Zenith Metro Health and Time Athletic Performance. The captains are at the center of the field and the coin toss is underway. Let's see.
Yes, we do. And Pat's ready for a hit whenever you guys are. Or whenever Brian gets to him, I should say.
Minnesota has won the coin toss, and they've elected to receive the ball. At this time, let's send this down to our third member of our broadcast crew, the birthday man himself, Pat Brown. Pat?
Go ahead and take it.
All right, I thought we were sending it down to Pat Brown. We might be having some difficulties right now. We will work on getting it back down to him as soon as possible. Donna, Minnesota is coming off one of their best seasons in 23 years. Obviously, they were part of the Barnstorming Tour back in 1999, whereas Boston, they're just rolling through teams left and right the last few years.
Well, Boston lost that 2017 championship, and ever since then, they've been on a mission. As we sit here and look at Sammy Grisafi getting ready to sing the national anthem. Sammy's a gold medalist that I played with in the World Championships 2010 and 2013. Tremendous athlete, tremendous quarterback, and musician as well.
Let's pause for the national anthem.
We'll be ready after.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
We're good?
Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of
A wonderful rendition of the national anthem as we get ready for this Division I National Championship game. And I was told that Pat Brown is ready now. Pat, take it away, birthday boy.
Hey, listen, thank you for the birthday wishes. The excitement on the field between these two teams is palpable. I tell you, I talked to both head coaches. They've been looking forward to this game for 2 years, and we're just waiting for them to kick this thing off because everybody's ready to see what these two teams are going to bring to the table. Back to you, Brian and Donna.
Yeah, Pat brought up the point that these teams have been waiting to play each other. This game was on the regular season schedule in 2020 before COVID canceled the season. So for these two teams to be meeting on the national championship stage is history written right here.
And I'm really looking forward to see how the Vixens start off this game. They are 7 for 7 on first drive TDs this season, and they're going against a Boston defense that is only giving up an average of 2 points per game, giving up 12 on the entire season. Stingy defense. Let's see if Minnesota can get it going right off the bat like they have all year long.
Yeah, if you include the playoff game against the Cali War that got Minnesota here, they're 8 for 8 on opening drives this season. So Minnesota elected to receive the ball first after winning the coin toss. They will be moving left to right across your television screen and wearing their white visitor jerseys, even though they are on the home side of the field. The Boston Renegades in their red home jerseys, moving from right to left across your screen and on the far side of the field. Ball blows off the tee. We'll have to reset it here. A little bit of a wind today, not quite as calm as the day was yesterday, but it's 81 degrees at kickoff.
Beautiful night for football here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame Stadium. Division I National Championship game, Boston, Minnesota underway.
So Kaya Segura picks up the ball and she's tackled out of bounds by number 63 for the Boston Renegades.
And Deanna Walsh up quick to make that tackle, and right away we've got a Boston player down on the sideline.
Minnesota will start their first drive, 1st and 10 from about the 29-yard line.
Looks like that injured player, number 44, Sammy Bloom.
Wait and see what happens here. Kaya Segula for the Minnesota Vixen, doing all sorts of things for them this year. She's filled in a little bit at quarterback, had 38 yards on 2 completions. But mostly, she's a receiver, 319 yards and 7 touchdowns during the regular season for Minnesota's number 11.
Yes, Minnesota's had a real balanced offensive attack this year, although they do rush the ball a little bit more than they pass, as opposed to Boston, who has a balanced attack with a little bit pass heavy. So that'll be a nice matchup to see which one comes out and prevails tonight.
Aaron McIsaac, Minnesota's quarterback, waits for the snap. Charlie Barbara, center. It's a direct snap to Sam Barber, but it's a little bit bobbled, so she is taken down for a loss right away. That's number 52 for Boston on the tackle, Allie Genero, a name that I have said multiple times over the past 3 seasons.
Well, Allie Genero has definitely been an impact player for the Boston ever since she started playing. And you can see right there, it looks like the ball might have hit the running back, and Genero fires off the ball Easy tackle there for the leading tackler on the Boston Renegades.
So a loss of 8 on the play brings up second down and 18 for the Minnesota Vixen. McIsaac hands off right away. No, she fools us and gets it off over her left-hand side. And the pass is complete to number 11, Kaya Segura, somebody whose name we have already mentioned.
Boston comes in with that 3-3 front, a little bit different front than some teams run. Stack those linebackers behind the D-line. Sometimes it's hard to see which gaps they're hitting. They'll run a lot of blitzes from that. Very aggressive on defense.
Picked up 5 yards on that play. Will make it third down and 13. McIsaac waits for the snap. He's got Barber in motion. No, McIsaac keeps the ball. No, where is it? Grace Cooper has it. Grace Cooper gets up past the 40-yard line. That's good enough for a Minnesota first down. That is going to be a Metro Health first down for the Minnesota Vixen and the league's leading rusher, Grace Cooper.
Yeah, great job running the ball. Boston sort of bounced off of her, trying to get an arm tackle, showing that she's not going to go down unless you really wrap her up.
So Minnesota picks up plenty of yardage on that play. Now first and 10. The WFA National Championship would not be possible without support from Metro Health, the preferred medical provider of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. Metro Health is redefining healthcare by going beyond medical treatment to improve the foundations of community health and well-being. Thank you to Metro Health and the medical staff here today at the National Championship game.
Minnesota coming out with a good pace so far, good balance, run and pass. Gonna have
Quick
to get
little
the ball
drop
out
to
quickly.
Murphy there. Picks up 3 yards on the play. Will be second down and 7 for Minnesota. McIsaac waits for the snap. Snap is up. Hands it to Cooper. No, McIsaac keeps it herself. Breaks up the left-hand side. Avoids one tackle. Segura throws a block for her. And McIsaac's up to the 50-yard line. So Minnesota is mixing up their runs and their passes so far this game. And it will be third down and 4 from the 50-yard line.
Well, I like their misdirection this game. Boston had a little stunt inside. Got them fooled. Picks up a nice 5-yard gain.
And you know, I have to give a shout out to the Vixen Road play-by-play guy, Alex Wested. I see why he's been confused all season long with the way Vixen can make it look like they're handing off the ball, when in turn, McIsaac's keeping it. McIsaac waits for the snap. Snap is up. This time she does hand it off to Cooper. Cooper is trying to get out of the backfield, just gets back up short of the original line of scrimmage. Bunch of Boston Renegades in on that tackle, including number 89, Christina Ruggieri.
Well, that defensive line led by Stephanie Jeffers up in the middle got off the ball really quickly, put pressure on the running back. Linebackers came in and cleaned that up.
So it's fourth down and 3 for the Minnesota Vixen. They punted a few times this year, but right now I think they're worried about that perfect streak of opening drive touchdowns, and they're electing to go for it on fourth down and 3. McIsaac waits for the snap. McIsaac keeps it herself. And we're going to have to watch for the spot. It looks like she's right at about the line to gain. Haven't seen anything, and there it is. That is another Metro Health first down. Minnesota keeps the drive alive. First and 10 from Boston's 47-yard line.
Yeah, nice little option read there. She saw the hole open up right in front of her, pulled it down out of her running back's gut. Just enough for the first down.
McIsaac's got 2 receivers to her right, 1 up top to her left. Ball is snap, hands it off to Grace Cooper. Grace Cooper finds a hole on the left-hand side, gets a good block, and is dragged down by number 89, Christina Ruggieri again.
Well, that was a great block by number 84 out there to give her the edge. Nice 5-yard gain on first down.
You know, Grace Cooper, she's had plenty of opportunities this year. Great rushing. Her longest run of the year was a 92-yard touchdown run
That's impressive.
So 2nd down and 5 for Minnesota from Boston's 42-yard line. Grace Cooper continues to stand to the left of Aaron McIsaac, the quarterback. 9 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Quick throw up the center, complete to Sam Barber. And that is going to be good enough for another Metro Health Minnesota Vixen first down.
Yeah, nice little route. Cut that right inside the defender. Gave her quarterback a perfect place to throw that ball. And Boston's not used to having a team drive right down the field on them.
So it's a Metro Health first down for the Minnesota Vixen as they continue to chip into the Boston Renegades territory. This time 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Cooper lined up to the right of McIsaac. Hands it off to Cooper. Cooper goes up that left side, met almost immediately by number 70, Danielle Fournier.
A last-minute shift by Boston. They brought the pressure that time with the blitz.
And that will be a loss of 2 for Minnesota as we look at the replay here. Snap up to McIsaac, hands it off to Cooper. Cooper is being chased from the moment her hands touch the ball.
Yes, and Fournier came all the way across from the other side of the formation to make that tackle. Had a good jump on the ball.
Ball handed off to Cooper. Cooper tries to the right-hand side this time. She escapes the Fournier tackle, escapes another tackle, and yet a third. She's got a big hole on the left-hand side. Barber throwing blocks down the field for her, and Cooper's able to pick up 9 yards and take a 2nd and 11 into a 3rd and manageable 2.
Very impressive run there. She was in the hands of Danielle Fournier. Was not able to bring her down. Bounces out all the way across the field. Great pickup blocks there by her offensive line to spring her for a few more yards.
So the official reading is going to be 3rd down and 3. And for the first time this game, we have number 80, Train Griffin, checking into the backfield. Stands to the left of McIsaac. Ball is handed to Train. Train looks for a hole in the middle. She gets some pushing from her line people.
Boston filling all those gaps, still able to pick up enough for the first down.
And
great run by Train.
And once again, that is a Metro Health first down.
I'm really impressed with the pace and the tempo that this Minnesota Vixens team has come out with in this opening drive. Shows why they've been so successful scoring on each first drive attempt this season.
You know, and right now, Boston is not used to a team coming out this early in the game and just moving down the field. We'll have to see if John Johnson's defense adjusts. This time, McIsaac drops back, throws the ball. Was intended for number 13, excuse me.
And that ended up being good defense by the receiver, Kate Murphy, to keep that ball from being intercepted.
See on the replay here, McIsaac drops back, throws it up in the air. Kate Murphy covered very well by number 2, Carolyn DeChuna.
She had a step. The ball was slightly underthrown, allowing the defender to make a play on it.
So 2nd down and 10 for Minnesota from Boston's 23-yard line. Train remains in the game. Cooper's actually sitting on the bench getting looked at. Flags on the play.
A lot of movement by the Boston defense. See if they got Minnesota to jump.
Yep, and that was Devin Whalen that jumped early for Minnesota. So it pushes them back 5 yards. We're 2nd down and 15.
Yeah, Boston does a lot out of this formation. They start with their 3-3 stack. They'll pull Genero down on the side or either of their outside backers up on the line of scrimmage. They do a lot of blitzing, do a lot of pressure.
Train remains in the game. Barber in motion. Ball's handed off to Train. Looks like Train gets about 3, maybe 4 yards on this one.
Train runs toward the defender, away from her block. Still able to pick up a few yards.
Number 72, Laura Pavilion on that tackle for the Renegades, and it's 3rd down and 12 again for Minnesota. Grace Cooper back into the game. Looks like it might have just been some issues with her tape when she was on the sideline. McIsaac takes the snap, hands that off right away to Cooper. Cooper running to her right, gets blocked into. And then number 52, Allie General, basically gets pushed in to Grace Cooper in the backfield.
Well, General just blew up that offensive line's attempt to block and was 5 yards in the backfield.
So Minnesota once again facing a 4th down. This time, though, it's 4th down and 15.
See what kind of play they have for 4th and 15. What have you seen this year up in Minnesota?
You know, they haven't had a 4th and 15 in Minnesota, so I really don't know what they're going to do. We obviously have Grace Cooper in there to the left of McIsaac, Sam Barber up top, and number 16, Kate Murphy, down to her right. The ball is thrown to Barber. Barber's looking, trying to adjust.
A little bit of contact, no flag.
And great coverage there by number 14, Jessica Balisto. And the Boston Renegades will take over on downs.
Well, I'm impressed with that first drive. Even though it didn't end up in a score, they were poised, they were under control. They showed that they can move this ball against a really tough Boston defense. But now, the most high-flying offensive attack in the WFA this year, led by Allison Cahill.
So Minnesota used 9 minutes and 45 seconds off the clock in that opening drive that didn't result in any points. And head coach Ryan McCulley, who is also the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vixen, watch Allison Cahill snap the ball and hand it off right away to number 21, Shantae Bonds, who's up the left-hand side for a gain of about 8 yards.
Well, Bonds, their top running back this season, also has been a former WFA MVP, just a really talented running back. They've got a lot of weapons on this team, top to bottom.
So Cahill waits for the snap. Bonds in motion to her left. Throws it down over to Bonds. And it skips off the ground before it gets to her hand. So an incomplete pass.
Yeah, running a little screen there, getting Adrian out on the block, unable to complete it. You don't see that very often from Cahill.
No, and they were looking at Minnesota's number 27, Jamie Karshbaum, a rookie, who they thought that if they got that pass completed, it would be easy to move the ball down the field. So it's 3rd down and 3 for the Boston Renegades. Cahill waits for the snap. Snap is up. She hands it off right away to Bonds in the backfield. Bonds breaks one tackle, and she's ultimately dragged down by one of the original Vixen, number 96, Red Bryant.
Yeah, Red, what an impressive story. Played 23 years in the league. One of the veteran leaders on this team. Played back when they were barnstorming. Just amazing to see a player be able to have this kind of longevity and still out there starting in this game.
So a result of that play was a Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades. They are 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. Moving right to left across your screen in the red jerseys. 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining on the clock. Big block in the backfield and ultimately taken down by number 4, Amanda Atkins.
And Pasquale, also one of their good receivers and running backs.
And Pat, what do you have for us right now?
So looking at the offensive coach in the huddle, he said we have nothing to panic about. We maintain our blocks. We have the alley to get the pass down the field. Just make sure you watch the inside linebackers. Don't panic. We can move the ball on them.
And for the second time this drive, we have seen one of Cahill's passes skip off the ground to the receiver. This time intended for number 10, Adrian Smith, and it's thrown
Right
short.
receiver as the corner was on a blitz. just unable to complete it.
So 3rd down and 5 for the Boston Renegades. 3 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in this quarter. Cahill waits. Changes the call. Getting into the backfield. Pressure is put onto her. That's Minnesota's number 82, Jocelyn Nelson, with the sack in the backfield. And Nelson is one of those players that when they come to play, they come to play.
Well, that was a great sack there. A lot of pressure off the edge. Minnesota brought 5 players. Offensive line of Boston unable to handle that rush. Brings up a 4th down punting situation.
So Boston is getting ready to punt the ball. Minnesota waits to receive. Number 47, Michaela Soul, deep for Minnesota. And Minnesota is forced to use a timeout as they weren't prepared for the punt.
Yeah, having trouble getting their punt return team on the field.
So 4th down and 11 for the Boston Renegades. Donna, you and I last night got to watch a great game, the Division II National Championships. Right away that game, Detroit went down the field, kicked a field goal, then an onside kick. After that, though, it was all the Nevada Storm, who ended up winning their 2nd national championship in as many seasons after being the Division III National Championships in 2019 and now the Divisional II champions in 2021.
Yes, we talked about them being a great story, coming back from one division to the next to win back-to-back years. Great story, great offense. I was really impressed with all the offensive formations they were running last night. A lot of misdirection, a lot of options. Really kept Detroit off balance.
So Heather Marini set to punt for the Renegades. Michaela Soul deep to receive. Takes a Boston bounce, rolls to a stop at the 24-yard line. So that's where Minnesota will start their 2nd drive of tonight.
Well, from all my years playing Boston, one of the biggest things you can do is long drives that take time off the clock. Boston is one of those powerful offensive teams. They can score a lot of points quick if you give them time. Very important to have these long, consistent drives that eats up the clock and reduces Boston's time on offensive possession.
So where Minnesota had the ball for a little over 9 minutes, Boston has the ball for about 6.5 minutes, leaving Minnesota with 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 1st and 10 from their own 24-yard line. McIsaac waits for the snap. She has Cooper to her left. Barber in motion. Cooper gets the ball. Barber's throwing blocks for her. And actually, once again, I was fooled as the ball was thrown to number 11, Kaya Segula, who picks up 5 yards for Minnesota.
Segula did a nice job going up right over that defender, taking it right out of the air.
And we are about as high up as we could be at any stadium right now as Grace Cooper goes up the center and gets herself another large chunk of yardage. Looks like 8 yards for Grace Cooper that time, and another Metro Health 1st down for the Minnesota Vixen.
Well, you've got to get the offensive line credit on that play. They got hats on everybody, gave her a seam, not hit, so she's 10 yards down the field.
The WFA National Championship would not be possible without support from Metro Health, the preferred medical provider of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. The system strives to become as good at preventing disease as it is at treating it. The Metro Health staff, we are thankful for having you here today at the National Championship. McIsaac takes the snap. This time I know for a fact that Cooper has the ball, but she is met by Genero in the backfield along with a bunch of other Boston Renegades and will be ruled down by contact and not a fumble.
Genero up fast, setting that edge, not letting anything by. It's tough to run outside on this Boston Renegades defense. Looks like we got a Minnesota Vixen down.
That
Cook.
And that is Minnesota's center, which unfortunately their starting center, Maria Beck, was injured before the season even started this year. All athletic tape today has been generously provided by KT Tape. Now you can get 15% off your KT Tape needs when you subscribe to their email newsletter. KT Tape is the official kinesiology tape of the WFA and a proud sponsor of women's sports everywhere. As we see Grace Cooper rushing the ball multiple times already in this first quarter, a first quarter that has 1 minute and 17 seconds remaining.
And it's good to see Barbara Cook get up and walk off under her own power. She'll have to come off for one play after that injury timeout. It looks like she's going to be okay.
So right now, Tina Tuna Milk Milky will be snapping the ball. Before the game, that's one reason you have multiple people practice in different positions for situations just like this. Snaps a little low. McIsaac drops back, throws the ball up. It's caught right away. That's number 87 for Minnesota. That's Janessa White with the completion.
I like the call. Boston's putting a lot of pressure. Take advantage of that big rush. Throw it over the top of General and that defensive line. Good pickup on first down or second down.
So it's going to be roughly 3rd down and 5 for the Minnesota Vixen.
3rd down and 5 for the Vixen as they get to the 44.
44 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 0-0 here from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio at the U.S. Football Hall of Fame. Cooper met in the backfield once again. So Boston has figured out how to get behind Minnesota's line of scrimmage and meet Cooper in the backfield about 50% of the time so far.
Well, they will do that consistently, and if you ask, will Boston make adjustments? Yes, they will. Boston is one of the best coached teams coming in and making adjustments in game and particularly at halftime. This team is well coached and well disciplined.
So Minnesota basically is electing to let the first quarter end, and at the end of the first quarter of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship Division I game, we are tied up at 0 between the Minnesota Vixen and the Boston Renegades. We will be back for the second quarter and more right after this message from our sponsors from Canton, Ohio.
I thought, okay, well, girls can't play football.
Well, there's never going to be a black head coach. There's never going to do this. You're wasting blah, blah, blah.
Won't stop, prime time, shot cloud.
They televised ping pong. You know what I'm saying?
This is the arrival.
I did like a triple take.
I know it's hard to believe. Come and see it, come and experience it. Once they do, we have fans.
Everything I wanna know it all. I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And I might never get there, but I'm gonna try. If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life, I'm gonna love you.
Today's game is fueled by Time Performance, the official nutrition partner of the Women's Football Alliance. Time Performance uses science and education to help the body recover and perform at peak levels. Thank you to Time Performance for helping to power the WFA all the time. So as we are coming back from break there, the Minnesota Vixen punted the ball, and Boston will take over with their second drive of the game deep in their own territory from their own 13-yard line. So quite different, Donna, than last night's game. In our first quarter, we only had 3 total possessions between these two teams, as they both managed to use large chunks of time while they had the ball.
I'd say that favors Minnesota, but we'll see here as this game winds down.
Allison Cahill takes the snap, hands it off number 21, Chante Bonds, who's met by a pack of Vixen. which I really should have looked up what a group of Vixen is called, since they are an animal.
Tackle there by Sheena Reed. And your pack.
So 4 yards to 3 yards gained on that play. Allison Cahill throws the ball behind her to number 3. That's Stephanie Pasquale up on the left-hand side, runs out of bounds at the 25-yard line, but picks up a Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Well, when Boston needs to get something going, they often do those really quick passes out through their wide receivers, do a lot of different types of wide receiver screens, get runners out in front of their athletes, and let them make some moves and make the defenders miss.
By Jimmy Hartbaugh. Pass is incomplete, intended for Stephanie Pasquale. Third down and 10 for the Renegades at the 25-yard line. With the catch, brought down by number 47. Caleb Swoll with a flag on the play.
An eligible man downfield. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. Replay third down.
To a third down and 15. So we have one penalty for both teams so far. Cahill checks her wrist. See what plays are being called in from the Renegade sideline. Waits for the snap. Throws it across the field. It's caught by number 10, Adrian Smith.
Nice.
And that is going to be good enough for a Metro Health first down. So Boston took advantage, Boston made good on that penalty and still managed to pick up the first down.
Well, there's really no first down yardage that Cahill can't hit and pick up with their talented wide receivers. Smith doing a good job of coming up with that pass and just stretching out for a first down.
So 1st and 10 for Boston from their 36-yard line. Cahill drops back. Looks to run. She's got somebody chasing her. Pushed down. There's a flag on the play. This one's going to be coming back. Sil Winton on the tackle there after completion to Shantae Bonds.
But there's pressure getting to Boston.
Holding. Offense number 88. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay first down.
So Boston with their second penalty of the game. Both times it has cost them 5 yards. We'll see if they're able to, this time it cost them more than 5. I forget that these are spot penalties.
Boston averaging 4 penalties per game. Pretty disciplined team. So far, 2 penalties in the first quarter and change.
So first down and 20, 11:41 remaining in the first quarter. Bonds moves to Cahill's right. Cahill with a quick release. Right to number 10, that's Adrian Smith.
Adrian Smith, number 10.
Taken down immediately. That's Eric at number 47,
Michaela Soul. Brings up second down. Boston picked up all they needed from the penalty and then some on that first down. Second down and 8 for the Renegades. Cahill changing the play. Didn't like the way she saw Minnesota lined up in defense.
Boston has numbers to the right.
Cahill drops back. The pocket collapses on her. She's got people chasing her from all angles, and she slides to avoid getting crushed.
Yeah, good job by the Vixen defense putting pressure. She had Bonds open. Not enough time to get her the ball.
That was Michaela Soul once again chasing Cahill, causing her to slide. Brings up third down and 5 from the Renegades. 10:41 remaining in the first half of this Division I National Championship game. Ball handed off right away, number 21, Shantae Bonds. Shantae Bonds trying to find a corner and only gets about a yard, maybe 2, before pushed out of bounds.
Well, great job this time by the Vixen defense of pressing the edge. Not letting her get outside and pick up extra yards. Brings up a key fourth down play.
Fourth down and 3 for the Renegades.
Fourth down and 3. Boston's offense stays on the field. Cahill, shotgun. She's got a running back to her right. Drops back, releases the ball. Complete right away. Tackle made by number 9, Amy Mugas, but not before it was complete to number 87. That's Emily Beneke, and that picks up another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Beneke, another one of their top receivers.
The Renegades first down. Sponsored by Metro Health.
The Boston now first and 10, dead center of the field, 50-yard line. 9 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the first half of this game. Shantae Bonds with the ball, makes a corner up the right. Tackle made by Madison Schmatz, and a flag on the play.
Pasquale with a good lead block on that play, getting out in front. Like this one's going to be on the defense.
Face mask. Defense number 18. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first step.
You know, when you have a team like Boston, you cannot make those 15-yard penalties like Madison Schmatz did.
Yeah, any kind of penalty, any kind of sloppy play, Boston will take advantage of it real quick.
So that moves them all the way to Minnesota's 24-yard line. First and 10 for the Renegades. 9:15 remaining in the half. Ball handed off right away to number 22, Ruth Mata, as she is met at the line of scrimmage by Sheena Reed.
Good job there, coming up and filling that hole. Boston pulling from the opposite side of the field.
And Sheena Reed is one of those players. I happened to see what she was having for lunch today. She went out for steak, and they had a steak called the Renegade, so she ate it. So second down and 9. And tripped up in the backfield right away is Ruth Mata by the Vixen, and that was Sheena Reed, and also number 75, Bethany Montague, in on that tackle.
Reed and this entire defensive line is doing a good job of containing this Boston running game so far.
Third down and 8.
Big third down play coming up.
So 3rd down and 8 for Boston in Minnesota's territory, just outside of the red zone. Cahill drops back and throws. She's got a wide open receiver in the middle of the field. That's number 10, Adrian Smith, and she is in for a Boston Renegades touchdown.
That's a blown coverage by the Vixens defense. Looks like their linebacker was peeking outside to the outside receiver. Smith comes right across the middle, wide open over the middle of the field. Easy touchdown for Smith. Adrian had 6 touchdowns on the regular season.
Now we wait for the extra point attempt. The kick is up, and it is good. So with 7:55 remaining in the first quarter, the Boston Renegades are on top in the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game by a score of 7-0.
See Adrian coming right across the middle. Nice pass to her. Easy touchdown for the Renegades.
Lip guards for the Boston Renegades and the Minnesota Vixen have been provided by Shock Doctor, the #1 mouth guard in the world. Protection, courage, and swagger. Get them all in a Shock Doctor lip guard. Follow us at Shock Doctor. Thank you to Shock Doctor, the official lip guard of the Boston Renegades and the Minnesota Vixen.
Well, this is what we're used to seeing out of this Boston offense. Drive down the field and score. They're averaging 59 points per game this year. Just
Usually, though,
higher all year.
Usually, though, it's not taking them 22 minutes to put those first points up on the board.
And I would say that's probably the greatest thing for Minnesota right now is that they've had those long drives. They've been able to keep time of possession out of Boston's favor. And that's why you see Boston here with just 1 score with 7:55 to go in the second quarter. Well under their scoring performance all year long.
And we'll get some great stats here at halftime, so we'll know how the games are going. John Sands of the Minnesota Vixen will be sending those over to us. We will be able to tell you how many yards Grace Cooper has, how many yards Ruth Mata has, and everything in between. So thanks to John for monitoring those stats for us. Boston ready to kick it off. Minnesota ready for their 3rd possession of the game. Ball is picked up. That's number 11, Kaya Segula. She finds a hole on the right-hand side, makes it all the way up to about the 38, 39-yard line before she is met by the Renegades. Megan McFadden in on that tackle for the Renegades. So 7:47 remaining in the first half of this game at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Minnesota 1st and 10. Moving right to left across your screen, wearing their white jerseys. Aaron McIsaac awaits the snap. Grace Cooper to her left. Drops back. She's got Kaya Segula open. Kaya almost has the ball. Great coverage there by the Boston Renegades. That's number 44, Samantha Bloom on the coverage. Pat, what do you have for us down on the Boston sideline?
Well, I just talked to one of the assistant coaches. He said we expected a dogfight. Offensively, they made some miscommunications while they're putting pressure on Cahill, but he said they straightened that out. We're going to do what we need to do, but defensively, they're not showing what they showed on film. They're rolling up from cover 3, trying to press their receivers, so they're making some adjustments. And as you see, they moved the ball down the field, and now they're up 7-0. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Pat. Once again, it's 2nd down and 10 for the Minnesota Vixen. They are on their own 38-yard line. Cooper has the ball. She finds a hole. She's getting good blocks up the middle. Flag on the play here, but Cooper's breaking down the field. She's only got one person. If she can get a block here, she's going to go all the way to the touchdown. Touchdown, Grace Cooper and the Minnesota Vixen, but we have to wait and see what the flag that was thrown back at the 46-yard line is.
Yeah, didn't see anything on that play, but the officials picked something up.
If this is against Minnesota, this will be hurtful. But they are celebrating on the Minnesota sideline, so it's looking like the touchdown will stand.
Sideline warning.
All right, we've got a defensive penalty.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. It's number 44. Enforced on the kickoff.
Well,
So hands to the face by Samantha Bloom of the Boston Renegades allows Grace Cooper to go from their 38-yard line all the way down for the Minnesota touchdown. And now Jody Williams lines up to try to tie this game up for Minnesota. Jody's kick is up, and her kick is wide left.
Nice job up front by that Minnesota Vixen offensive line. Boston had pulled their linebackers down on the line of scrimmage, and once they got that initial block, she was able to turn on the Jets. See here that speed.
And that was a great stiff arm by Cooper, which just was enough to keep that defender from catching up to her as she scampers into the end zone like she's done all season to get another 6 for the Minnesota Vixen.
We've got a ball game here after Boston's pretty much run everybody else out of town. Minnesota said, not tonight, we're coming to play. And showing a lot of courage, a lot of fight. And I'm excited.
This is a great game so far. Bubba's 33 was kind enough to provide a bunch of food for the teams prior to the games this weekend. They're up on the scoreboard there as one of the sponsors. And it's 7-6, Boston over Minnesota with 7:26 remaining in the first half. I'm Brian Sweeney. Donna Wilkinson is with me as always. Donna, this is our 3rd Division I national championship together. Who'd have thought when we met in Atlanta, Georgia back in 2018 that we would still be doing this together in 2021?
And who would have thought that we'd be covering Boston each year?
That is something as well. So number 5, Santia Creech from the Renegades is getting up. She picks it up from the end zone and manages to get all the way back up to the 27-yard line, which is where Boston will start their 3rd possession of the game.
And this is where Boston's real dangerous. The final 5 to 7 minutes going into the half. We've had some games where they've come back and scored once or twice in this narrow window. So this is a window where Minnesota really needs to focus in, hone in on defense, play the way they've played all game, and keep this Boston team contained.
Cahill comes trotting in from her sideline. Got her plays in her mind, talking to John Johnson, the head coach, before the game. He told me that he's been more excited for this game than any game he's been excited for in a number of years.
And it's a good one.
Cahill takes the snap, hands it off right away, number 22, Ruth Mata. Mata finds a hole on the left side, being chased by Michaela Soul, and Michaela Soul gets her out of bounds, but not before a Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Well, Mata found the one gap that the Vixen did not fill off on that left side. No one there in that C gap. Easy run for a first down.
The WFA National Championship would not be possible without support from Metro Health, the preferred medical provider of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. Thank you to the Metro Health and medical staff here today at the National Championship. Mata with the ball, getting some good blocks on her right-hand side. Dragged down by number 15, Crystal Nunez of the Minnesota Vixen.
And good block up front there. Hillary Crook, offensive line for the Boston Renegades, pulling and leading the way.
So gain of about 8 on the play. 2nd down and 2 from their 48-yard line. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first half of this game. Snap is up. Shante Bonds with the ball. Finds a hole on the left, and it crumbles quickly as Madison Schmatz and a bunch of other Vixen players, including number 66, rookie Molly Bleasy, are in on the tackle.
Well, not before Boston's able to get enough yards to move those chains and bring up another first down.
That's another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades, now into Minnesota territory. 1st and 10 from Minnesota's 48-yard line. Cahill waits for the snap. Drops back, throws the ball up in there. She's got a wide open receiver. Good coverage that time by number 9, Amy Mugas. Ball intended for number 87, Emily Beneke.
Yeah, Beinecke wanted a call there, a little bit of contact, but that came in right as the ball came into Beinecke. No harm, no foul.
Mugas having a great season. Has had a run back for a touchdown already on an interception return that went 30 yards this year. Second down and 10. Cahill releases the ball right away. That's number 3. That's Stephanie Pasquale that finds a hole on the left-hand side. And she's going to be close. Let's see.
Knocked out of bounds by number 47.
Boston going back to those quick hits to the receivers.
So 3rd down and 2. Bonds to the right of Cahill. Beinecke to her right. 3 receivers to her left. Looks to the sideline, changes the play, drops it really quick. That's Pasquale, picks up the ball. Pasquale gets enough for a first down. That's Schmatz and Mugas on the tackle.
Yeah, we had a game where Boston pretty much went left, right, ran that same play back to back to back over and over again. Tough to stop. And they can get that quick hit and get their players out in front blocking.
It's another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades. Chipping their way deeper into Minnesota territory. 5 minutes remaining in this first half. 1st and 10 for Minnesota's 29-yard line. Cahill pump fakes, releases the ball. She's got a wide open receiver, and the ball drops through Pasquale's hands, which would have been an easy touchdown for Stephanie Pasquale, number 3 of the Renegades.
I'm not sure what defense the Vixen were trying to play. It looks like the corner sort of stayed down low, thinking maybe she'd have a safety help up top. Obviously a blown coverage. Very fortunate that wasn't 6.
On the cover was
number 32, Sil Winton, and Michaela Soul were closest to the receiver there. So 2nd down and 10. Hand off to Shante Bonds. Shante Bonds goes to the right. She finds a hole. She picks up a block and dragged down in the backfield by a name we've called multiple times this game already for Minnesota, number 9, Amy Mugas.
Mugas did a great job of bringing her down from the back.
Manages to pick up 1 yard before she was dragged down by Mugas. See the replay on here. Amy is not fooled, and she gets through that line, and she just tackles number 22, Ruth Mata, excuse me.
Yeah, if she doesn't make that tackle, she's going to be running for a little while here.
So Mata to Cahill's left. 3rd down and 9. Just over 4 minutes remaining. Cahill drops back. Red Bryant was on her. Pass is complete to number 22. That's Ruth Mata, who gets yanked out of bounds by a touchdown-saving tackle by number 15, Crystal Nunez.
And you can really see Mata's speed there. She gets out to the edge.
So Boston manages to pick up another Metro Health first down.
Brought to you by Metro Health Sports Medicine.
So good blocking here.
Great job not giving up room off the edge, giving players from the backside a chance to come and make that tackle.
Gain of about 3 on the play. Mata with that pickup. 2nd down and 7 for Boston. And Minnesota will elect to use a timeout with 3 minutes and 6 seconds remaining
Minnesota,
in the half.
their second of the half.
Well, this is quite a half of football so far. I'm impressed with both of these teams, but particularly with Boston coming in as the favorite. The job that Minnesota's done to control the tempo and hold them to 7 points so far in this game. That's really the story here.
Minnesota has played smart ball on the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, as we heard Pat Brown say, they are doing things that Boston's coaching staff did not see on film.
Well, I think you always put some things in during the season that you don't show, and they're showing it tonight.
Today's game is fueled by Time Performance, the official nutrition partner of the Women's Football Alliance. Time Performance uses science and education to help the body recover and perform at peak levels. Thank you to Time Performance for helping to power the WFA all the time. Brian Sweeney here with 2-time gold medalist in football and Women's Hall of Famer Donna Wilkinson, welcoming you to beautiful Canton, Ohio, the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame Tom Benson Stadium. And what a facility this is.
What a great facility and a new partnership with the WFA, multiple-year partnership here. Grateful to be a part of this stadium and this game here with you.
So 2nd down and 7 for the Renegades. 3:06 remaining. Cahill waits. No running back. She takes the ball. She drops back. She's looking to throw the ball quickly. The ball is complete to number 15. That's Catherine Thailander, who's met instantly by number 43, Nina Fute.
Yeah, and I have to wonder if Minnesota's going to try to stop the clock again in case if Boston does score. Make sure they give themselves a little bit time before the end of this half to try to go back and score on offense.
So 3rd down and about a yard, maybe just slightly more than a yard.
We're down at 2
for the Boston Renegades. 2:33 remaining. Boston up 7-6 over the Minnesota Vixen. Allison Cahill, the quarterback, the league MVP in her position, with a quick pass to number 22, Ruth Mata, in for another Boston Renegades touchdown.
And just like that, quick screen out. Mata's got the touchdown.
So you just mentioned that Minnesota was going to be left with time, and they do have time. They have just over 2 minutes remaining in this half. Hopefully they have what they believe is enough to move down the field and answer. And for those of you watching at home, it does show Boston Renegades down to 1 timeout on the graphic. They actually do have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The kick is up. And it's good. So Boston Renegade on 3 possessions, started with a punt, but has gone touchdown, touchdown after that. All athletic tape today has been generously provided by KT Tape. Now you can get 15% off your KT Tape needs when you subscribe to their email newsletter. KT Tape is the official kinesiology tape of the WFA and a proud sponsor of women's sports everywhere. As we watch number 22, Ruth Mata of the Boston Renegades, go in for multiple touchdowns this game. I've watched Ruth Mata over the past 3 national championships, and she does not slow down yet.
She's strong and she's fast and one of their key players. I mean, they have so many weapons on this Boston team. Pretty much they can give it to anybody, hand it to anybody, throw it to anybody, and they've got speed, they've got strength.
So Barber and Segula wait for the kick. And this time the kick is popped up to Sil Winton, who spins out of bounds. And Minnesota will have 1st and 10 from about their 43-yard line with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining.
Minnesota takes over with good field position, should have an opportunity with just over 2 minutes left to try to drive down and score.
And you know, they've got the arm power of Aaron McIsaac and the receiving duo of Segula and Barber that can get downfield quickly.
And they don't have to rush this. 2 minutes is plenty of time to get the ball down the field. They've got to come up with some urgency. They got to have some tempo.
McIsaac waits for the snap. Grace Cooper to her left. One receiver to her right. Drops back, and she immediately tries to throw it to Kaya Segula, who looks like she was kind of held up a little bit, but there was plenty of coverage on the play by the Renegades, including number 24, Brianna Gallo.
That was a dangerous throw there into double coverage, also underthrown.
The last thing Minnesota wants to do there is throw an interception and allow Boston to move down the field with 2 minutes remaining.
There.
Second down and 10 for Minnesota in their white visitor jerseys. McIsaac waits for the snap. Barber in motion. Ball handed off to Cooper. Comes up the center of the field, but she actually is met almost right away by number 46, Hannah Jennings of the Renegades.
Hannah Jennings did a good job coming off the line of scrimmage.
And Boston now is electing to use one of their timeouts. Which, with Minnesota on 3rd down, you really can't blame Boston for using that timeout. And again, those of you watching at home, it does show Boston has no more timeouts. They actually still do have 2 timeouts remaining. So the graphic is wrong on that.
These last few minutes of the game are very dangerous when you're playing Boston. They tend to really focus in going into halftime.
All athletic tape today has been generously provided by KT Tape. Now you can get 15% off your KT Tape needs when you subscribe to their email newsletter. KT Tape is the official kinesiology tape of the WFA and a proud sponsor of women's sports everywhere. And Minnesota and Boston are actually playing what I would consider a shootout, even though Boston is currently up by 8 points. McIsaac's pocket crumbles fast, and she is taken down in the backfield by number 42, Jennifer Tamillo.
Boston bought the pressure on that play. Minnesota Vixen offensive line unable to block them. And that's unfortunate for the Vixen offense.
So a loss of 5 yards on that play.
Everyone was coming. You see 4 or 5 people in the backfield.
And Boston uses their second timeout, which will leave them with a minute 17 remaining in this half.
We really hear those Boston fans across the way getting loud, cheering for their team.
Good number of people here tonight, Donna. It's always good to see the fans come out from across the league, whether or not their particular team has made it to championship weekend. It's still great to see them coming out and supporting the rest of the athletes here this weekend.
Absolutely, and we have a lot of wonderful athletes, Division II, Division III as well, all the all-star players, so a lot of women's football players from all over the country gathering here in Canton, Ohio today.
So 4th down and 16. Segula punts the ball. And it rolls out of bounds at the 29-yard line. I'm going to mark it right at the 30. Boston still has time left, still has 1 timeout as well. Minute 35 remaining, and they are going to look to increase their lead going into halftime.
Cahill is known as the Tom Brady of women's football. Let's see if she can pull off a little Tom Brady magic here with 1:36 to go remaining in this half.
Cahill waits for the snap, drops back. She's got time. She releases the ball. It's a quick little throw. That's number 21. That's Shantae Bonds, the receiver, taken down by number 18, Madison Schmatz of the Minnesota Vixen. But once again, not before, another Metro Health first down.
And with the NCAA clock rules, the clock does stop temporarily until they get those chains set, really giving Boston an advantage when they throw the ball over the middle of the field.
So Cahill drops back in her pocket, looks downfield. She's got a receiver open, and good coverage that time by Crystal Nines as the ball was intended for number 15, Catherine Thailander.
Yeah, I'd expect Boston to come out and throw on every play with 1:10 to go in the half.
So minute 10 remaining in the first half of the game. Second down and 10 for the Boston Renegades from their own 47-yard line. Cahill, the National League MVP of the season, waits for the snap. Minnesota's coach Ryan McCulley yelling at his defensive players. Flag on the play as Red Bryant got to Cahill, but that was not the reason for the flag. The flag was thrown way over at the 40-yard line.
Well, Adrian Smith was lined up off the line of scrimmage, and she needed to be on the line as she started to move up to get set. The ball was snapped, putting her in motion at the snap of that ball.
Illegal motion. Offense number 15 was moving forward at penalties declined. Third down.
Minnesota declines the penalty, doesn't want to give Boston another opportunity to throw the ball. So we'll bring up third down and 10 with 1:04 remaining in the first half of this game. Boston 14, Minnesota 6. Cahill looks to her left, releases the ball. She's got a receiver open, and it's picked up. It's picked up by number 27, Jamie Karshbaum of the Minnesota Vixen. Minnesota Vixen take over first and 10 after Karshbaum pulls out the important interception in this first half.
And what of a turn of events for the Vixen. Big stop on third down. Great read on that play, came over the top.
Here you can see Cahill plenty of time, but she drops. Karshbaum just throws rather than adjusting and covering Bonds. She played the ball, which was the right decision to make. Minnesota now first and 10 from Boston's 42-yard line with 53 seconds remaining in the first half. McIsaac waits for the snap. Cooper to her left. Bad snap, and it's picked. It ball's bouncing all over. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. We're going to have another turnover. This time Boston turns over the ball, picks up the ball off of a Minnesota fumbled snap.
Oh, and that's the last thing you want to do when you just forced Boston into a turnover and you have a scoring chance going into the half, is to give Boston one more chance with 45 seconds left to try to get a score here. Wow.
So you can see there the snap was a little bit low. McIsaac tries to get the ball.
Genero starts to pick it up and drops it.
Genero did what so many players before her have done. They started running before they had possession of the ball. So Boston now first and 10 from the Minnesota 47-yard line. 45 seconds remaining in the first half of this game as we see Janessa White walking off to the sidelines with Minnesota's medical staff. Each team one timeout remaining. Cahill waits for the snap. Snap is up. She drops back. She's got time to throw. She's releasing the ball. It's wide open. Pasquale. Pasquale met instantly by Crystal Nines, who throws her down and actually tackles her inbounds. So the clock will start as soon as the chains are reset, but that is a Metro Health first down.
Minnesota giving up way too much room on that outside receiver.
Boston, first down.
So Boston 1st and 10. Plenty of time left for them to throw it to the end zone from Minnesota's 30-yard line. The official lines person over there still has 2nd down on their flip chart, but Cahill waits for the snap. Bond switches sides. Cahill throws the ball. It's complete to number 15. That's Catherine Thailander, who's met instantly by Mugas once again, and Michaela Soul and Sil Winton were all there as well.
Taken down inbounds. Clock keeps running. Boston should be able to get off 1 or 2 more plays here.
22 seconds remaining.
Adrian doesn't have anybody covering her up top. She's wide open. Cahill can't get her the ball.
Quick little dump to Shantae Bond. Shantae Bond scampers out of bounds.
Wow, I don't know where that corner was, but Adrian Smith was wide open. There was not a player within 20 yards of her. Cahill must not have looked up that direction as she was looking over to the right.
Third down, 8-6. For the Renegades at the 26.
So we have 3rd down and about 1, 2, 3 yards with 6 seconds remaining. Boston up over Minnesota 14-6 after on 2 consecutive plays. Both teams turned it over.
Timeout. Minnesota, their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
So Minnesota is using their 3rd timeout of the half, Donna, and they are going to have to really concentrate because you do not want Boston to walk off with another touchdown here before you go into the locker room at halftime.
And I think they needed to make an adjustment. Boston had trips to the left. They only had their 2 safeties deep, but the 1 safety to the trip side was in the middle of the field, and to the 1 receiver side, she was over tight. So if they need to put that safety, they need to shift her over to the trip side, make sure they're covering those 3 receivers going downfield.
So it's 4th down and 3, 6 seconds remaining from the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Brian Sweeney here with me, as always, to the Division I National Championship. Donna Wilkinson. Donna, we got the lights on. Pretty soon the sun will be setting, and the second half of this game will be under the lights, which is always something special for these women playing.
It's a dream, Brian. It's a dream to be in a national championship game. To have a game this close, this exciting. What a great experience for these ladies tonight.
Cahill waits for the snap. Shantae Bonds is to her right. She drops back. The time is expiring on the clock, so this will be the last pass. The pass is caught by number 87. That's Emily Beinecke, and she is in for the Boston touchdown as time expires in the first half of this game.
Well, I saw Soul overshoot that ball. Looked like she thought she might have an interception.
And we just talked that is not the way Minnesota wanted to end the first half, because now Boston has an opportunity to go up 21-6.
Well, they've played so well this half. They've had control of the time of possession. You'll see here, you'll watch her come. Really just needed to stay back on that pass.
And Sil Winton needed about another 2 inches on their vertical leap, and that ball would have been deflected. A point after attempt is good, and Boston is up 21-6 in the first half of this game.
That's the end of the first half.
So the referee has signaled that it's the end of the first half. 21-6, Boston over Minnesota. Now, the first quarter of this game, it was a fight. It was a knockdown defensive battle between both teams, but Boston made important adjustments in the second quarter, and that allowed Boston to score 3 touchdowns on their 5 possessions. Let's throw it on down to Pat at the sideline. Pat is with Minnesota's head coach.
Coach, I know that's a little disappointing to end the first half, but you're right there where you want to be. I heard you talking to your defense, saying, let's do us. So what do you think about the second half?
Just got to limit the mistakes. Right now we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit, and we're giving them the extra downs that they don't need. They're a good team, and you give them extra time, extra plays, they're going to make you pay for it. So cutting down on the personal and mental mistakes will be the big thing for our defense in the second half.
Last question, is this the kind of game that you expected?
Absolutely. We expected a dogfight from the very start, and we've been getting it from them. We knew we were going to get their best. We need to come out in the second half and give them ours.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Back.
So here we are, the end of the first half. Boston Renegades over the Minnesota Vixen by a score of 21-6. Enjoy halftime. We will be back with the second half shortly.
Everything I wanna know it all. I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And I might never get there, but I'm gonna try. If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life, I'm gonna love you.
I thought, okay, well, girls can't play football.
Well, there's never going to be a black head coach. There's never going to do this. You're wasting blah, blah, blah.
Hashtags won't stop, prime time, shot cloud.
They televised ping pong. You know what I'm saying?
This is the arrival.
I did like a triple take.
I know it's hard to believe. Come and see it, come and experience it. Once they do, we have fans.
Today, the awards will be presented by NFL Hall of Fame great Mr. Franco Harris. Right now, we'd like to introduce you to our first recipient. And it is Jennifer King, NFL coach of the Washington football team. Coach King became the first black woman to become a full-time coach in the NFL following her promotion to assistant running backs coach for Washington in 2021.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jennifer King, assistant running backs coach with the Washington football team. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the WFA for including me with such a great group of women in football, and also thank Franco Harris for his continued commitment to women's tackle football. Sorry I can't be there to accept this in person, but we're about to get started here with our training camp. But best wishes to everyone this weekend. Go women's football. Hope everyone has a great night.
Jennifer King, ladies and gentlemen. The next recipient is Lori Locust, NFL coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Locust became the first female position coach in the NFL and third female full-time assistant coach in NFL history. She went on to become the first female coach along with assistant strength and conditioning coach Mauro Giaparto to win the Super Bowl in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl on February 7th, 2021. We do not have a video on Lori Locust, but ladies and gentlemen, Lori Locust.
I don't see anyone walking.
Next up, we have Kelly Brownson, NFL coach of the Cleveland Browns. In September 2018, Kelly Brownson became the first woman hired as a full-time NCAA Division I coach when she was hired by Dartmouth College. She also became the first woman to coach an NFL position group in a regular season game when she filled in for the Cleveland Browns tight ends coach Drew Petzing in a Week 12 game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on November 29, 2020. She filled in for passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach Chad O'Shea during the Week 17 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for Betsy again during the Browns' first game of the 2020-21 NFL playoffs.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Callie Brownson, Chief of Staff with the Cleveland Browns. First off, I want to thank the WFA for including me in such amazing company as the other women involved in this group. Such trailblazers and leaders on and off the field, continually fighting for the sport that we love so much. So I'm really honored to be in this company and included in this group. On top of that, I'd really like to thank Franco Harris for his continued support and leadership in women's football. You know, whether you're a past player, current player, or even those who want to be a part of this in the future, Franco, thank you for all that you do to make those things possible. It's greatly appreciated. I hope everybody has a good time this weekend, and good luck to the teams and the players who are involved in the events this weekend. What better place for a cool event like this to happen than the Pro Football Hall of Fame? So add this part to the history books as well, as you guys have the WFA National Championship there on sacred ground at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So really soak it in. Good luck to the teams involved, and thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Callie Brownson of the Cleveland Browns. Next presentation is Andra Douglas. He is the owner of the New York Sharks and author of Black and Blue. In 2000, Andra purchased the New York Sharks football team. After 19 full seasons of play, Andra sold the team, but the New York Sharks retired arguably as the winningest and longest operating women's tackle football team in the world, boasting a 19-season record that includes 10 division titles, 5 East Coast championships, 2 national titles, 2002 and 2018, and 1 international title. The New York Sharks were the most widely covered by the media, having appeared on national shows including American Gladiator, ABC's The View with Barbara Walters, and Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. The Sharks have been featured on NBC Sports and Sports Illustrated, on ESPN, and the city of New York invited the team to City Hall for a ceremony declaring August 9, 2010 to be New York Sharks Day. In 2019, Andra released her first book, Black and Blue, Love Sports, and the Art of Empowerment, which touches on her life experience as a non-conforming female growing up in the conservative rural environment and the subsequent unfurling of her life as an empowered executive and pioneer for the women in American football. Ladies and gentlemen, Andra Douglas, owner of the New York Sharks.
Hi, I'm Julie Bowen, and I am here to virtually congratulate Andra Douglas on receiving the WFA Breaking Barriers Award. Congratulations, Andra. I'm even more excited to announce that we are developing a project for television based on Andra's book, Black and Blue. Her book chronicles Andra's experiences in life and women's football, and finally, the whole world can share it. Go, Andra!
Next recipient is Vera Diana Lieberman, the director of Born to Play. Vera is a filmmaker based in Brooklyn, New York. In 2020, she was highlighted honoree in the DOC New York cities 40 under 40 list, and her solo directional debut, Born to Play, premiered on ESPN and ABC. Born to Play follows the Boston Renegades, a semi-professional women's tackle football team on the path of redemption after losing the national championship the previous year. An avid sports fan, Deanna is also the author of Sports Heroines on Film, a critical study of cinematic women athletes, coaches, and owners, published by McFarland. She just completed editing the first episode of Through Our Eyes, a new documentary series of Sesame's Workshop on HBO and ESPN 430, titled Breakaway, featuring Maya Moore, both set for July 2021 releases. Ladies and gentlemen, Deanna Lieberman. And our next recipient is Kathy Kuras, Director of Open Field. Kathy is co-founder with Vanguard Muse, an independent music and film company. Kathy led the development of the first video storytelling production department for the National Office of the YMCA. Vanguard Muse's first studio album, Atlantis, with Sammy Grissett, received 6 Grammy pre-nominations. Open Field, Kathy's first feature documentary film, premiered at the Austin Film Festival in 2020 and won the Best Documentary Audience Award at the Riverside International Film Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathy Kuras. At this time, we'd like to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to the Toledo Troopers. How about another nice round of applause for the Toledo Troopers?
Yeah,
Don, we'll put you over there too.
I really want to appreciate y'all.
It's okay. Hey, stand in back so nobody thinks it's Vixen. Okay.
You about to play a game, get all set. I tried to get y'all to Florida State. Yeah, I tried to steer, but y'all didn't want to. I really got to put fire on the both sides.
Are you wearing a ton? Coach Johnny, come here, and you got on the wrong color. At least take that hat off.
Someone needs to tell me that there was a Polaroid opportunity, a photo opportunity.
Hey, Polaroid, stay ready. So first of all, I want to say congratulations on the championship, you guys. I think this past Saturday was one of the best 4 quarters you guys have put together. And I heard from a few of you that maybe that was the best defense that or team that we played against. I'm not sure, having not been out on the field, but regardless of how good or bad they were, you guys were on point. And that to me is more important than anything else, because as Coach always says, our best competition is at practice. And all of your hard work is paying off. And it's paying off big, it's paying off with the championship. And so with that, we found out today that Bob Kraft and the Patriots want to fly us to the game. But now that pressure is on you guys, because Bob said, or Mr. Kraft said, we don't have a ride home if we don't win.
Everything I wanna know it all. I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And I might never get there, but I'm gonna try. If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life, I'm gonna love you.
All athletic tape today has been generously donated and provided by KT Tape. Now you can get 15% off your KT Tape needs when you subscribe to their email newsletter. KT Tape is the official kinesiology tape of the WFA and a proud sponsor of women's sports everywhere. Today's game is also fueled by Time Performance, the official nutrition partner of the Women's Football Alliance. Time Performance uses science and education to help the body recover and perform at peak levels. Thank you to Time Performance for helping to power the WFA all the time. Brian Sweeney here with Donna Wilkinson and Pat Brown looking at the first half highlights. Allison Cahill wasted no time in the first half of this game, scoring touchdowns with that one there on the opening drive. So Ruth Mata, Shante Bonds, yes, and then Grace Cooper answers with a huge run up the left side of the field and gives Minnesota within 1. After that, it was 7-6. But Allison Cahill and the Boston Renegades powerhouse duo of her and Ruth Mata answer back for not one, but multiple touchdowns before an interception by the Minnesota Vixen. Next play after that, though, a fumbled snap, and Boston picks up the ball once again. They will march down the field as time is expiring and find another touchdown, this time by number 87, Emily Beinecke. So that's where we are as we start the second half of play here. 21-6, the Boston Renegades over the Minnesota Vixen. Once again, Brian Sweeney here with Donna Wilkinson, Pat Brown down on the sidelines. Donna, anything that we can take away from the first half that we can work on for the second half of this game?
Well, I think Minnesota did a great job of controlling the game right up until those last 7 minutes, in which Boston scored those last 2 touchdowns. We look at the stats here. Allison Cahill was 15 out of 24 for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns in that first half. That's a great offensive performance for her. Stephanie Pascal had 4 receptions for 46 yards. Smith had 3 for 45 yards. Those are their 2 biggest receivers in the first half.
Kaya Segula kicks off the ball. Ball is being ran back by Shantae Bonds. Shantae Bonds makes it up to middle of the field, the 50-yard line, but the referee has thrown a flag. He moves the flag back where the penalty occurred, so it looks like this flag might go in Minnesota's favor.
Turn team number 52, 15 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
And on the other side of the ball, we see something similar. Grace Cooper leading the offense, 11 attempts rushing for 109 yards and 1 touchdown.
So there's the
62.
There's the blind side block on Nina Fuchs.
Janero gets called for that. Gonna back them up 15 yards.
So Boston will start the first drive of the second half of this game from their own 27-yard line. Boston in the red jerseys moving left to right across your screen. The Minnesota Vixen wearing their white road jerseys. Minnesota is on the home side of the field. Boston is on the visiting side of the field. Cahill with a quick pitch. That's to number 22, Ruth Mata. Mata trying to get out of the backfield. Makes her way up a few yards. But we got it.
Good job running her down before she falls down on the sideline. Not sure what that injury was.
And that looks to be, I believe,
officials timeout for an injured
number 82.
Looks like 82, Joycelyn Nelson.
So that's Jocelyn Nelson, the injured Vixen player down on the sideline. So, you know, we were looking through the first half stats, and one thing that we noticed right away is that both teams started slow. Minnesota, you know, they took off 9 minutes of their opening drive, and it was a turnover on downs. Boston got the ball right away, burned up about 7 minutes of time, ended up punting. Minnesota got the ball back and then punted, but then the fireworks started to erupt. And we can use that word because the Boston Renegades bring their own quote-unquote firing squad to these games.
They do have their musketeers in the end zone firing off their cannons after they score those touchdowns. Kind of a jarring experience for an opposing team.
Something that you and I are used to, though, after having covered Boston in the championship game for what is now 3 seasons.
Yes, we've covered them for 3 years, and I've played against Boston for the last 21 years with the DC Divas. They were one of our original competitors. Of course, back in the beginning, it was the Mass Mutiny, and they've gone through several different iterations of this Boston team, now a combination of all the teams in Boston forming one strong team. It's had a lot of success over the last decade.
So as we see Jocelyn Nelson make their way, to the sideline for the Minnesota Vixen from Anoka, Minnesota. We want to, you know, we haven't really heard. I kind of got a little bit of intel on the Vixen center, Charlie Barber Cook, and we'll have to wait and see if they are back in to snap the ball during the second half of this game. Minnesota really just can't afford to have these players go out on injury when you're playing a team like Boston that is strong and consistent.
And Boston's definitely a strong second half team. They make good adjustments at halftime. See what they come up with here.
So Cahill takes the snap, hands it off to Ruth Mata right away. Mata breaks a couple tackles, gets up to about the yards to gain. Waiting to see the official measurement, but we have another, well, slow to get up Minnesota Vixen player, but they do get up right away. Looks like a shoe has come off.
She needs to stay down.
Right now, my number 47.
And it is going to cost Minnesota a timeout.
Prior to the snap, Timeout.
Yeah, I think you got to go
Minnesota.
down there when you have
They're
an
first of the
equipment
half.
issue and make sure the officials see and call that timeout.
And Vixen.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Michaela Soul not quite understanding what she needs to do in a situation like that, running to the sideline. And head coach Ryan McCulley is forced to use his timeout this early in the third quarter.
I don't know if that's going to come back to hurt them later in this game. Once Boston starts to get a lead, they keep putting the pressure on. Minnesota's going to have a great effort this half to stop this Boston's offense and get a little more explosion on their offensive side.
And so, you know, we've had a lot of great information throughout the season. Both these teams, Minnesota and Boston, are heavy on sports. And Pat has an injury update for us now down on the sideline. Let's see what we have for you. Pat?
All right, can you hear me, guys? So I talked to one of the head assistant coaches for Boston. I said, what did you see in the first half that you need to make adjustments on? He said, mainly you want to keep the players calm, continue to do what we need to do. We're going to fine-tune some things on defense, and we just want to stay the course and play calm and play our ball.
So on first down and 10, Cahill had a pass intended for number 3, Stephanie Pasquale, that fell incomplete. Brings up second down and 10 for the Boston Renegades from their own 37-yard line. Cahill waits for the snap. She has 2 receivers wide to her right. Running back to her right is number 22, Ruth Mata. Mata gets the ball, finds a hole, gets some good blocks up the left-hand side of the field, and is ridden down out of bounds by number 47, Michaela Soul, who used that timeout to tie those shoes.
See on this replay here, you got a couple offensive line out pulling in front. They've got the numbers.
Good to see number 93, Britta Clark, in there helping on that tackle as well. Third down for Boston. 3 yards to go to pick up the first down. 13:40 remaining in the third quarter of this game. Ruth Mata with the ball, finds a hole, gets a good block in the backfield. Looks like she stepped out of bounds short of the first down.
Boston came out with that unbalanced formation to the left. Extra offensive line on that left side, and then go ahead and pull 56 out there.
And great work on that by that official to see that the out of bounds was breached, bringing up fourth down and 1 for the Renegades.
Big opportunity for Minnesota to keep themselves in this game with a stop here and provide good field position.
Mata finds a hole up the middle, is tripped right away, but by NCAA rules, she is down by contact. So Minnesota will get the ball on a turnover on downs by the Boston Renegades to start the second half of this game.
That was good pressure up front. You see 32 still Witten firing through that line, putting pressure, forcing Mata to look like trip and not get that first down.
You are correct. She did trip on number 80, Ashley Beckman's feet as she was trying to gain that extra yardage. So Minnesota first and 10 from Boston's 43-yard line. And it does look like Charlie Barber Cook is back in the game, which is good to see. Grace Cooper with the ball. Quarterback McIsaac throws a block. Cooper gets pulled out of bounds by number 70 of the Renegades. That's Danielle Fournier from the University of New Hampshire.
Well, Fournier and Genero definitely stretched that play out, not letting her get the edge. That's what Boston's known for, is really tight edge coverage.
You know, we talked a little bit earlier. It's great to see Minnesota's quarterback throw a block for her running back to try to help get those extra yards. Second down and 7 for Minnesota. Grace Cooper to the left of quarterback Aaron McIsaac. One receiver to her right. Cooper goes to the right, gets a hole, finds enough for a first down, breaks a couple tackles. She's only got one person to beat. She's going to be in for a Minnesota Vixen touchdown.
Wow, what a run. Great patience, great blocking up front. Cooper does a great job turning on the Jets, following her blocks into the end zone. Vixen touchdown.
Minnesota lined up with 3 receivers to the left. Grace also started to the left. The play went to the right, as you see here. Great block there by number 62 of the Vixen. That's Devin Whalen that's created that hole. And once Cooper was out of the reach of Shantia Creech, it was an easy touchdown.
And you can see that speed as she burst through.
So Minnesota lines up to go for 2 points here. Train Griffin in the backfield. The snap is up. McIsaac keeps the ball. No, it was a direct snap to Cooper, and Cooper is in for the 2-point conversion. And we once again have a football game where Minnesota is within a touchdown. 14 for Minnesota Vixen, 21 for the Boston Renegades.
Well, good decision to go for 2 points here, and great play call there with the direct snap. Finds that nice little hole in the defense. Runs right past 13, Shannon Singletary in for the 2-point conversion. And that's exactly what Minnesota needed in this series right here.
And it's great to see the Minnesota fans in attendance, cheering, jumping up and down. Their mascot, B.A. Vixen, is in attendance as well. Down there keeping the fans hyped up right at the 50-yard line.
Oh, is that guy we saw going into the half?
Yes, that would be her.
I don't think I've seen that mascot before. Nice to see him out. Got very interesting, colorful mascot.
B.A. Vixen was a player for the Minnesota Vixen for a number of years, and when she could no longer play, she decided to do what she could do best, and that is to keep the fans engaged.
Wonderful.
At the home games and most of the road games as well.
Love it.
So Boston goes and turns it over on downs in their first possession of the second half. Minnesota very quickly scores a touchdown on their first possession of the second half. Shantae Creech with the ball for the Boston Renegades. Runs up the field after the kickoff and gets out of bounds at approximately the 42-yard line, where Allison Cahill and the Boston Renegades will start their second drive of this half.
Well, and that has to energize this Vixen team. Few players getting up slow after that first series, but you can really see them fired up down there on that sideline now.
Here's some extra
Please
whistles
reset
on
the
the
game
field.
clock to 12 minutes and 5 seconds. 5.
So we're making an adjustment to the clock. After the player had run out of bounds, the clock continued to run. So we will wait for the clock to be reset.
Boston in that formation, they like to run that quick hit out to the wide receiver.
So right away, Cahill, quick release to number 21, Shantae Bonds. Shantae Bonds picks up a good block and then is dragged down by number 4, Amanda Atkins, a name that we have not said yet this game, but she was there to prevent the touchdown this time, but not before another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Well, when Boston wants to get something going, they try to get the ball to their skill players real quickly. This time getting it to Bonds out of the backfield.
Shantae Bonds, the ball carrier. Picks up another Boston Renegades first down. That's another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades. And again, we have a Minnesota Vixen player laying on the field requiring medical attention.
Well, this Boston is a very physical team, and whenever you play them, there's going to be a lot of hard contact in there. You can see the effect on some of these players going down. Right there you see Boston doing a great job of pulling their offensive line, getting blockers out in front, leading the way for a long first down run.
Today's game is fueled by Time Performance, the official nutrition partner of the Women's Football Alliance. Time Performance uses science and education to help the body recover and perform at peak levels. Thank you to Time Performance for helping to power the WFA all the time. As number 93, Britta Clark, making her way off the field under her own power, which is good to see. I want to thank Britta Clark's father this year for running the camera at the Vixen road games to allow their fans to see those broadcasts when the Vixen were in Arlington and Des Moines. So the snap is up. Handoff right away to number 21, Shante Bonds. Shante Bonds just gets up to the original line of scrimmage.
Great job getting off the ball, defensive line. That's Joycelyn Nelson coming in to make that tackle, fired right off.
And it's good to see Jocelyn Nelson back in the game after they were helped off the field earlier with an injury. Theirs is a name that we have said multiple times this game, so obviously an important part of the Minnesota Vixen defense. Pitch to Bonds. Bonds with the ball, makes a leap over one Vixen player, but she can't get past Crystal Nenes.
Minnesota staying settled, bringing up a big third down here. This looks like, though, 4-down territory for a Boston team.
You know, neither of these teams have done a lot this season as far as field goals go. And what we found here is what's going on.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Well, I know from our side, Boston hasn't needed to kick field goals. They've pretty much scored touchdowns on all of their possessions as they get down close to the red zone. You're up there in Minnesota.
All right, all athletic today has been generously provided by KT Tape. Now you can get 15% off your KT Tape needs when you subscribe to their email newsletter. KT Tape is the official kinesiology tape of the WFA and a proud sponsor of women's sports everywhere. As we see Allison Cahill and the success that she has had not only throughout this season, but so far in the first 45 minutes of play of this game.
Well, we talked about her coming in as being one of the leading passers in the league this year and really showing that she can make a number of different throws. She's got a lot of weapons out there. Smith, Beinecke, you know, these guys have been working together for a lot of years. This team has really brought a veteran team together this year that's been together through all of these championships. They've added some key rookies to their roster. So they're coming in here with a good, strong veteran squad.
So Pat has a little bit of an update for us as we see Sheena Reed come off. Pat, what do you have?
Yeah, now the temperature is not that humid down here, but there's 3 or 4 Vixen players that have experienced cramps. They're going to make sure they stay hydrated, get them in and out, rotate the players so they can get the most out of everyone when they're on the field. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, it's currently 80 degrees right now as we see number 21, Shante Bonds, break a few tackles. And on an important 3rd down and 6, Bonds manages to pick up another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
And they found a little seam up the middle of that defense. A couple backs in the backfield lead blocking for her.
The WFA National Championship would not be possible without support from Metro Health, the preferred medical provider of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. Metro Health is redefining healthcare by going beyond medical treatment to improve the foundation of community health and well-being. Thank you to Metro Health and the medical staff here today at the National Championship.
Once again, Bonds with a run up the middle, bringing up 2nd and goal.
2nd and goal, quick handoff to Bonds. Bonds is in for another Boston Renegades touchdown.
Making it look too easy, Bonds. That offensive line just got a little bit of push. All she needed to do was cross that ball over the line. Boston goes up 27-14.
So Minnesota uses about 3 minutes of time to get Grace Cooper into the end zone for a touchdown. Boston comes down the field, and Shantae Bonds is in for another Boston Renegades touchdown. Line up for the point after attempt. Ball is down, kick is up, and it is good.
Adrian, number 10 Smith has the extra point. At 9:35 to play in the third quarter.
Bonds with her first touchdown of the night. First half, she carried the ball 5 times for 21 yards, already having a bigger impact in the second half. She's in for the Boston touchdown.
So Boston did not take lightly to Minnesota going down the field and scoring a touchdown of their opening drive of the second half. So Boston takes their second drive and puts it in for a touchdown to keep their 14-point lead. 28-14, Boston Renegades over the Minnesota Vixen in the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship. Brian Sweeney, as always, with Donna Wilkinson and Pat Brown down on the sidelines. We're at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in beautiful Canton, Ohio, home of the NFL Hall of Fame, where in just a few weeks there will be inducting the class of 2021.
Yeah, this is a special stadium. I was down here when Darryl Green and Art Monk got inducted, and we had a real long standing ovation. Just a lot of beautiful, meaningful moments at this stadium, and grateful to be a part of the Women's League, having our own moment in this stadium.
And you know, the women have their own Hall of Fame that you have been inducted to. And back in 2019, I had the honor of helping to induct a few of the Minnesota Vixen players into the Women's Hall of Fame. Jody Rylander, who's an active player on the team, and one of their coaches, Coach Emily Sundberg. They also have 2 other players already in the Hall of Fame, Michelle Brown, who's a coach, and number 96 on the defensive line, Cynthia Red Bryant. So the kick is up, and it is being ran back by number 13, Sam Barber. She makes it all the way up to the 47-yard line. So Minnesota's going to be starting with decent position on their second drive of the second half.
Yeah, Minnesota needs to stay disciplined this drive. They need to continue to put points on the board and match Boston score for score. This is a time where if you're not able to match them, Boston can start to run away with the game. And so far, this game has been close enough to really, keep everyone's heads and hearts in the game.
And I want to thank everybody who's tuning in on FTX Next Level Sports to watch this game live on DirecTV or on the FTXnext.com. McIsaac waits for the snap, gets the ball, hands it off to 42, Grace Cooper. Grace Cooper trying to find a way to the right. There's a flag on the play as a helmet gets ripped off.
That's tough when you try to run off the edge when Boston brings both of their outside linebackers down on the line of scrimmage.
That's Barbara Cook, whose helmet was ripped off. See what the flag is.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense number 42. 15 yards from the previous spot.
Jennifer Tamilio with the hands to the face.
Does not have to leave the game for a play because the helmet came off due to the penalty.
Number 42 there, you can see her literally pushes Charlie Barber Cook's helmet off of their head. The result of the penalty is a Metro Health first down for the Minnesota Vixen. They were already starting the drive with good field position. That penalty on the first play gave them even better field position as they're now 1st and 10 from the Renegades' 39-yard line. McIsaac waits for the snap. Barber's in motion. McIsaac keeps the ball, escapes a tackle. She's got to get out of that backfield, but the pocket collapses around her before she can get any blocks.
A lot of hats to the ball. Looks like Genero was in on that, as well as a host of Boston defenders.
Walsh was in that as well, as also as Jennifer Tamilio. You can see here.
Immediately bringing pressure.
Second down and 15 for Minnesota.
Minnesota loses 5 yards on that play. Second down and 15. 8 minutes and 24 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. McIsaac, quarterback for the Minnesota Vixen, waits for the snap. Flags on the play. False start.
False start.
So basically, after the hands to the face penalty by the Renegades, Minnesota has had back-to-back failures to convert positive yardage, and they are almost back to where they were prior to that penalty by the Renegades.
Well, just not the discipline that you'd want after that opportunity, moving down into the inside the opponent's 40-yard line.
To go. Ball's on the 49.
So second down and 20 for the Minnesota Vixen. From the Boston 49, need to pick up a large chunk of yardage here. Pass is complete to number 11. That's Kaya Segula with the reception. Picks up what the second penalty took away from them, and maybe a yard or two additional. So it's now going to be third down and 13.
Yeah, big play here. They really look like they're in 2-down territory, so they got to pick up some positive yards on this play. May either get a first down or fourth and manageable.
McIsaac has one receiver up to her right, 2 to her left. Grace Cooper in the backfield. She drops back. Pocket's collapsing. She escapes a tackle from number 42, Jennifer Tamilo, but the ball pops loose, and it's going to be recovered by number 13 of the Boston Renegades, Shannon Singletary.
They've already blown that ball down by contact at the 49-yard line.
So Minnesota gets lucky there because now it's a fourth down and 20 as opposed to Boston having the ball in Minnesota territory.
That's really a breakdown of Minnesota's offensive line. Boston only rushed 3 players, and the edge player initially got a great push and got pressure. But when you're getting that kind of pressure with just 3 rushing, you're in trouble.
So Minnesota lines up. Kaya Segula with the punt. Punt lands right in the hands of number 5. That's Shantia Creech. Creech up the right-hand side of the field. And wrestled down by number 42 of the Minnesota Vixen, Grace Cooper.
Knocked out of bounds by number 42, Grace Cooper.
This is the time where Minnesota's really got to keep their composure, keep putting pressure on Boston, try to get that stop, keep themselves in this game.
So Boston, 1st and 10 after the Minnesota punt, their second one of the game. Minnesota possessed the ball 6 times so far. 2 touchdowns, a fumble loss, 2 punts, and a turnover on downs to start the game. Boston looking at their 8th possession of the game so far. Cahill with a quick pitch to number 22, Ruth Mata. Mata gets a couple blocks, finds a hole on the left-hand side of the field, escapes another tackle, and gets thrown out of bounds finally at the Minnesota 44-yard line, but not before she picked up another Metro Health first down.
Once again, Boston going with that unbalanced left formation, putting extra linemen on the left-hand side. Minnesota unable to get enough players out for contain.
And Minnesota has another injured player down. This time it's number 9, Amy Mugas, a name that we have called multiple times already tonight for her successful tackles and preventing Boston from making big plays.
And Minnesota can't really afford many more people to go down. They've had a number of injuries this second half. And you just have to wonder if it's just the physicality of Boston that's different from the other teams they've played this year.
Well, you know, and Boston has, I don't like to use the word reputation, but that is what it is. They have a reputation of being one of the biggest and strongest teams in the league. And Minnesota, being in the Midwest, doesn't get that opportunity to travel out there very often to see them. As we talked early in the game, they originally were scheduled to play each other in the 2020 season. So this is actually the first time in the history of these two teams that they are meeting each other. So Minnesota, you know, they play Iowa, they play Wisconsin when they have a season, when they have a team. Make the trek down to Texas this season as well. South Dakota has a team. But there's something about the strength and the power that Boston puts on the field year after year that Minnesota hasn't seen yet.
Absolutely, and they've really put the pressure on them this game, and you can see them wearing them down quarter by quarter as this game moves on.
So 5 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the third quarter of this game. Plenty of fans in attendance enjoying a beautiful night for women's professional football here in Canton, Ohio at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Boston Renegades most of the season, #1 in the Massey ratings. Minnesota started the season and about number 5 or number 4, gradually chipped their way up throughout the season until they ended in the #2 position. And we can see why with the success that they are having, preventing Boston from having a blowout game thus far.
I've been really impressed with this game. You know, coming in, I wasn't sure if Boston was going to come and have another blowout like they did in our last championship game. Minnesota's provided a really good game here so far.
Flags on the play right away. This one was over before it even started.
Ball start. Offense number 80. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So Ashley Beckman of the Renegades starts to move a little bit early. Offensive line person. Backs Boston up 5 yards. First down and 15 for the Renegades from Minnesota's 49-yard line.
Brought the Renegades back 5 yards. First down and 15.
I want to thank both the New England Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings for the support that they are both giving their respective women's franchises this weekend in playing for the national championship game here. Good to see the NFL get behind these athletes. Quick little pass to number 22. That's Ruth Mata. Flag on the play. She gets up and picks up about 10 yards. We'll have to wait and see what the flag is.
I really would like to put a call out to all the other NFL teams. There are women's football teams in just about every city.
Offense number 50. 5-yard first down.
And they could definitely use the support, the financial support, the media support, everything that the NFL can do. Obviously, Boston got a plane ride out here. Robert Kraft decided he was going to support them at a different level than the women have ever been supported in this league, and we're grateful for that and just looking for them to set the example for other teams to follow.
And you know, Donna, you and I, as both being Raiders fans, we remember the AFC Championship game with the tuck rule in the snow.
We do.
So we don't have a lot of love for the Renegades. Excuse me, for the Patriots.
Patriots, right.
But what the Patriots did for the Renegades prior to this game, I think they earned some of that respect back.
Well, I definitely have a lot of respect for them, and as a NFL uniform inspector the last 3 years, I was definitely impartial and did not give favorites to any teams working that job. But you know, when it comes down to it, you got to respect what he's doing and what their organization is doing for this Boston women's team.
Another Minnesota player down on the field, waiting to see if it's cramps, as Pat told us that so many of them are cramping up from the heat and the relatively high humidity. Obviously, the men's football leagues play in the fall when the weather is cooler. Playing at the end of July, where our national championship is right now, brings a whole new set of things that you have to adjust for.
Indeed, and this really comes down to hydration and getting those electrolytes back in your body. You know, and I switched my water to higher quality water. I started having less issues with cramping and headache on the field. So there's a number of things you can do, and you see her just, going down. Looks like no contact.
Yeah, number 93, Britta Clark. Yeah, she basically just kind of dropped down onto her knees and rolled onto her back for safety reasons. Crew is out there. Both sidelines respectively taking a knee for their sister out on the field. So Donna, one thing that the Women's Football Alliance did this weekend is they actually had an awards presentation prior to this game where they recognized women that have made breaking barriers for the WFA. Callie Brownson, coach of the Cleveland Browns. Lori Locust, first woman to win a Super Bowl as a coach with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jennifer King, coach of the Washington football team. Andra Douglas, former owner of the New York Sharks, author of Black and Blue, book about her time in football. Viri Lieberman, wonderful director, directed the Born to Play documentary that premiered on ESPN and ABC that followed the Boston Renegades throughout their 2018 season after losing their national championship in 2019. And Kathy Karras, director of Open Field, another movie about women's football that is out in the circuit right now and hopefully will be released nationwide very soon. And to make it even better for all these women, these awards were given to them by Franco Harris of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he's the co-owner of the Pittsburgh Passion.
Franco's done a great job with the Pittsburgh Passion. They've been one of our rival teams throughout the years, and he's provided tremendous support out there after the games, even with the water stands, just completely supporting the women. Callie Branson, a former teammate of mine, DC Diva, doing a great job up there. And obviously Jen King playing in my hometown, Washington, coaching for the Washington football team. And Andra's going to get her book turned into a movie, so hopefully we can see some of that come out on the big screen at some point and really get a big look at what she's done and the effort she's put in all these years.
And I can't speak for you, but when you watched Born to Play for the first time and you saw us on the screen,
that was cool.
Had to have made you feel special. Snap is up to Cahill. Cahill dumps the ball, and it's intercepted by Red Bryant, number 96 of the Minnesota Vixen. I don't think in the history of me, being a part of this league that I have ever seen Red Bryant, an original gangster Vixen from 1999, with an interception, and none more important than this one tonight.
That's incredible. 23-year veteran on the D-line, coming up with a huge play, keeping her team in this game. Wow.
And you can hear the love from the stands for Cynthia Red Bryant. Her wife is a professional bodybuilder, and I know they work out together. So when Red is on that line, she is all business all the time. Minnesota, 1st and 10. From the Boston 45-yard line, wearing their white jerseys, moving right to left across your screen. McIsaac waits for the snap, drops back, throws the ball, it's complete to number 13, Sam Barber, who drops the ball, and it looks like once again we're going to have a turnover followed by a turnover.
Wow.
So twice this game now, there was a fumble loss by Minnesota twice, and there was interception losses by Boston twice. But here you can see Cahill drop back. She puts the ball. Sheena Reed gets a hand on it and basically tips it into Red Bryant's hand for the interception. And you can see under her shock doctor mouth guard there, the smile on her face.
And it almost doesn't look like she has possession of that ball. She's trying to pull that ball and tuck it as it comes out, but officials called it a catch.
So Cahill with the quick snap, hands it off. Didn't quite see it. Looks like it was Shantae Bonds that received the handoff. Ran a few yards forward. Yep, Shantae Bonds did get that. Gained 1 yard on the play. 2nd down and 9 for the Boston Renegades. 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Boston up 28-14 over the Minnesota Vixen. Another quick snap. Pass complete, and they're going to give her forward progress there. That's number 10 this time, Adrian Smith.
Well, I have so much respect for Red Bryant, their D-line, and Moose Raylander, linebacker, two 23-year veterans of women's football. I played 17 years and know how hard it was to play that long. To have a 23-year career, it's just incredible, and they are owed all the respect that they get.
3rd down and 2. Snap is up. Handed number 21, Shante Bonds. Shante Bonds finds a hole on the left side. Manages to break a couple tackles, and she's finally pushed out of bounds at about the 50-yard line. Flag on the play.
Flags on the play.
See if we can see what the flag will be here.
In front of her, Pasquale.
Personal foul. Hands face. Offense number 21.
So Boston picks up another hands to the face penalty, which that is their 3rd hands to the face penalty this game assessed to the Boston Renegades.
So I wonder if that was on Bonds. She did get a good stiff arm.
Actually,
she
wrapped her fingers a little bit around that.
You can't get that stiff arm, but if you wrap those fingers.
So now 3rd down and 12 for the Boston Renegades. Penalty pushes them back to their 31-yard line. Cahill waits for the snap. 2 receivers to her right. 1 up top to her left. Running back to her right. She hands it off to number 21, Shante Bonds. Shante Bonds finds a hole, picks up a block. She's got Michaela Soul and a bunch of other Vixens wrapped around her, so they give her forward progress back up to about the original line of scrimmage, but it should be 4th down and 10 for Boston.
And a good defensive series here for Minnesota, going to force Boston into a punt.
4th down and 10 for Boston. Right at their own 33-yard line.
So number 46, Leah Moan of the Minnesota Vixen, waits for the punt. Back at the Minnesota 30-yard line. Number 6 for Boston, Heather Marini, set to punt. Snap is high. Punt is off. Takes a couple Boston bounces and settles right at the Minnesota 40-yard line.
And the ball will be down at the 40-yard line.
Minnesota had something going on that last drive with that pass. Let's see if they can hold on to the ball this time.
So Minnesota 60 yards away from going within a possession of this game once again.
15% off your KT Techniques when you subscribe to their email newsletter.
And off right away. Grace Cooper taken down in the backfield for a loss.
Nothing doing is Genero off the edge.
Run out by number 52.
Genero doing what they have done for years, penetrating that offensive line and getting into the backfield before anything can develop for a running back or a quarterback on the opposing team.
2nd down and 12 for Minnesota at the 38.
So Grace Cooper lined up for the direct snap. Takes the direct snap, gets a good block in the middle, but then right away, Boston is there. This time it's number 88, Erin Truex.
Yeah, defense does a great job closing the holes, not giving her any room to run.
And actually, correction, that was 68, Samantha McKay. The jerseys bunch up a little bit from this height up here. We don't always see perfectly clearly what the numbers are. 3rd down and 9 for Minnesota. Grace Cooper, the lone running back. 1 receiver to the left. McIsaac drops back, releases the ball. Pass was intended for number 16, Kate Murphy, falls incomplete, and already it's 4th down for the Minnesota Vixen.
Boston putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback that time, forcing a quick throw.
And we're going to check in with Pat down on the sideline. Pat?
Yeah, I tell you, the emotional swing from Minnesota's sideline, getting a turnover and turning it back over. That's happened twice. But I tell you what, you give Coach McCullough credit. He's keeping their heads up, staying motivated. You're only 2 touchdowns down. Anything can happen, and Minnesota's coming to play.
Thank you, Pat. McIsaac waits for the snap. Cooper stands to her left. She backs up. She releases the ball, and there was nobody there. From what I could tell, it looked like Kate Murphy was not running the route that was called in the huddle. So now Boston takes over on downs in Minnesota territory on the 41-yard line.
And this is dangerous territory for Minnesota here, with Boston getting good field position, already up 2 scores with 1 quarter to go in this game.
So we know Minnesota can be a benefactor of the turnover. What we have to see is, are they able to do anything with it if they have another opportunity? 2 turnovers for Minnesota, 2 turnovers for Boston, immediately followed by 2 turnovers for Minnesota. Cahill, quick throw to number 3, Pasquale. Pasquale gets a good block. She's being chased by Bleasy. She escapes Bleasy's tackle, where she is met by number 4, Amanda Atkins, and a bunch of other Vixen, but not before a Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Boston's favorite, quick little tunnel screen out there.
That's the third quarter.
So that is the end of the third quarter of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship game, where the Boston Renegades have 28 and the Minnesota Vixen have 14. We'll be back for the exciting conclusion of this game right after this.
Everything I wanna know it all. I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And I might never get there, but I'm gonna try. If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life, I'm gonna love you.
I thought, okay, well, girls can't play football.
Well, there's never going to be a black head coach. There's never going to do this. You're wasting blah, blah, blah.
Hashtags won't stop, prime time, shot cloud.
They televise ping pong. You know what I'm saying?
Today's game is fueled by Time Performance, the official nutrition partner of the Women's Football Alliance. Time Performance uses science and education to help the body recover and perform at peak levels. Thank you to Time Performance for helping to power the WFA all the time. Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship game. I'm Brian Sweeney. With me, as always, is Donna Wilkinson, and Pat Brown is down on the sideline. The Minnesota Vixen are down by 2 touchdowns to the Boston Renegades, who are making their way down the field right now. Quick handoff and an ankle tackle there by number 15, Crystal Nenes, before Ruth Mata has an opportunity to move any further, and it will be 3rd down and 8 for Boston.
Nenes does a great job firing in from the backside of that play, running that play down, showing a little speed.
You know, Donna, we're getting the stats during the halftime. We're getting all the information from people from around the country watching this game. Last night we had people watching from Australia. I want to say a special hello to James Carroll back in Minnesota, who has always been a huge supporter of mine in all my ventures of sports. And Jim, I have an exciting announcement for you very soon, so you'll want to hear that. Allison Cahill takes the snap. She drops back. It's a quick little dump-off pass. Pass is complete to Ruth Mata, who is thrown out of bounds by number 47, Michaela Soul, for the Minnesota Vixen. However, that was good enough to get another Metro Health first down for the Boston Renegades.
Boston caught Minnesota putting pressure on. Perfect play with all that pressure. Little screen right over the top. Got their offensive line out in front for the block.
Michaela Soul, true story. I'll get to that here shortly if we have an opportunity. About one time when we traveled to Detroit for a game. Cahill hands off to Mata. Mata finds a hole, breaks to her right. Wide open. She is going to dive for another first down. It will be 1st and goal for the Renegades from the Vixen 4-yard line.
Looks like Vixen really had trouble containing that edge, that play. Mata's got some speed. If you don't squeeze her in, you're in trouble.
So it's another Metro Health Sports Medicine first down for Ruth Mata. I think she has more first downs this game than any other player from either team. So Cahill, first and goal from the 4-yard line. Waits for the snap. Hands it off to Mata. Mata gets a great block on the right-hand side, and she is in for another Boston Renegades touchdown.
Just like that, Boston goes up by 3 scores. When they start scoring, it comes quick.
And I think part of it might be the heat. They're starting to wear down the Minnesota Vixen, who have had a couple of cramp injuries and a couple of other injuries that has caused their players to come off the sideline. There you can see Mata gets a great block from number 15, Catherine Thailander.
And
now we wait for the point after.
And on that block.
And we talked about that last night, how the receivers and the running backs are not afraid to go downfield and throw blocks for the rest of their team. Pat, what do you have for us?
And the historical significance of playing Minnesota here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. She said it's all about showing the young women that they can achieve anything they put their mind to. We're here representing all women in sports and in life. And she said it'll be great to three-peat, to let all the hard work they did during the preseason matter to win the championship in 2021.
And you know, Pat, I agree with you 100%. Donna, Pat was talking about how important it is for these women on the field to show the next generation of young girls and teenage girls that women can play football.
Well, absolutely. We've been playing football for 20 years now, 21 years to be exact. And when you look for the Minnesota Vixens, they were playing 2 years with a barnstorming tour before there was ever any leagues. And so this is a legitimate opportunity for women to want to compete, to come out and play the most physical sport in the world, one of the best team sports in the world. And I'm just honored to be out here and be a part of this and to have been one of the key figures in building this women's football movement.
And true story I heard from Michelle Brown during my interview with her for the Road to Canton series this year as Boston kicks off the ball, is the fact that the original Minnesota Vixen players got their equipment from the movie The Waterboy. She actually showed me her original helmet where the purple paint had chipped, or excuse me, the black paint to the Minnesota Vixen had chipped off, and you could see the purple underneath it. So Minnesota looking to do something fast and to do something strong here with this possession that they have in the fourth quarter. They have 12 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, and they have to go 59 yards to get a touchdown to get back within 2 touchdowns of this game. Grace Cooper is in the backfield with Erin McIsaac. She has 2 receivers to her left. Sam Barber is in motion. Hands off. No, McIsaac keeps the ball herself. She's looking for a hole, makes a tackle and a spin. But number 24, Brianna Gallo, is there to stop McIsaac from getting any further down the field.
Yeah, good option read there. She saw that her back did not have anything. She picks up a good 5 yards on that play.
So second down for the Minnesota Vixen. 12 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in this game.
Minnesota could use a little bit of that Waterboy magic right now.
Looking down on the field, I do not see Bobby Boucher. So it is going to be up to B.A. Vixen and the rest of the Minnesota Vixen family to get this taken care of. Grace Cooper finds a hole, breaks tackle on the left side, gets enough for a first down, escapes another tackle, running up the sideline, finally pushed out of bounds by number 5, Shantia Creech, but not before a Metro Health first down.
Great initial blocking, and she does the rest. Tough to bring down. You see out here, you got a nice block on the edge. Great job blocking wide receiver. That's Segula helping her get that extra yard.
So Minnesota now first and 10 from Boston's 39-yard line. McIsaac waits for the snap. Cooper to her left. Snap is up. McIsaac keeps the ball. She goes up the left-hand side of the field, gets a good block from Segura. McIsaac gets another first down. That's another Metro Health first down. The WFA National Championship would not be possible without support from Metro Health, the preferred medical provider of the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. Metro Health is redefining healthcare by going beyond medical treatment to improve the foundations of community health and well-being. The system strives to become as good at preventing disease as it is at treating it. Thank you to Metro Health and the medical staff here today at the National Championship. So 1st and 10 from the Minnesota Vixen from the 24-yard line of the Boston Renegades. Looking to get down the field, have to get a touchdown. Down right now, 35-14. Direct snap to Grace Cooper. Grace Cooper met right away by Genero and also number 13. That's Shannon Singletary for the Boston Renegades.
Big drive here from Minnesota. They need a score to keep them in this game. 10 minutes and counting.
So a gain of 1 on the play, 2nd down and 9. Clock continues to tick, and with every second that comes off that clock, it's another second that Minnesota does not have to chip away at the Renegades' lead. McIsaac waits for the snap. Barber's in. Hands off to Cooper. Cooper gets a block in the center. But right away, Genero is there to pull her down from behind.
Genero, the leading tackler on this Boston Renegades team, all over the field tonight.
So she picked up about another 4 yards on that play. Going to be 3rd down and 5. As we see number 85, Adri Juzek, trounce off the field for the Minnesota Vixen. Cooper stands next to her quarterback, Aaron McIsaac. Minnesota Vixen wearing their white jerseys, moving left to right across your screen. 9 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this game. It's a handoff to Cooper. Cooper trying to get a hole, but she cannot break free. This time it's number 30 for the Boston Renegades, Aaron Deet, in on the tackle.
Deet does a good job of running her down from the backside. Boston defense holding strong.
And there's a little Cooper there, of course, ready to help Genero up off the field. Great sportsmanship always shown at these national championship games by both sides of the field.
Big 4th down play coming up here.
There was a loss of 1 on that play. 4th down and 6 for the Minnesota Vixen. 8 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the game. Going to be a direct snap to Cooper. Cooper waits. The ball is up. Cooper throws one out into the air, tries to get it in, but it is batted down. Flag on the play. Number 14, Jessica Belisto on the coverage. Excuse me, 44, excuse me.
Pass interference. Defense number 44. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So now one thing those that are watching this that aren't used to watching women's football is because they use the NCAA rules, it is a 15-yard penalty and it is not a spot foul.
So what I saw there was just a little push off with her right hand. She actually had inside position and would have been easily able to defend that ball without that little push off, that little extra contact.
So Minnesota 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Cooper stands to McIsaac's left. Ball is snapped. McIsaac, quick little throw, incomplete. See if we can see who it was intended for. Number 13, Sam Barber.
Well covered there. That's Deanna Walsh knocking it down.
So Minnesota 2nd and goal. Clock continues to be their enemy right now.
Pass is complete to 13, Shannon Singletary.
Aaron McIsaac comes in. She's received the play from offensive coordinator Sean Matson of the Minnesota Vixen. Boston fans chanting defense from across the field. Charlie Barber Cook ready to snap the ball to McIsaac. Ball is up. McIsaac keeps the ball, gets a couple yards. Are they going to give her forward progress? No, she's basically back to the line of scrimmage, which is the 4-yard line. It is 3rd down and goal.
This is a big series right here. If Minnesota can knock this in, they're still in this game. But if they come up short, this game is going to be really tough to come back from.
So 8 minutes remaining in the game. 3rd down and 4 yards to go for the Minnesota Vixen. At the beautiful Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, Canton, Ohio. Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game brought to you by Aiden Nation and Zenith. 2 of our major sponsors. We would not be here, would not be able to put this on if it was not for them. Grace Cooper finds a hole on the right-hand side and is in for the Minnesota Vixen. Touchdown.
Boston put pressure up the middle. She took it right off tackle, in for the touchdown. And that's exactly what Minnesota needed, bringing this back to a 2-score game.
So it took Minnesota a little bit longer probably than they wanted it to take, but they were able to get down the field and get more points on the board. You can see the great handoff to Grace Cooper. The entire defensive line was on her left. She saw a hole to her right, took advantage of it for another Minnesota Vixen touchdown. Minnesota looking like they're lining up to go for 2. Sam Barber in motion for the Vixen. Snap is up. Cooper with the ball this time is not going to be successful as the 2-point conversion is stopped back at the 10-yard line. So with that drive, the Boston Renegades lead has shrunk a little bit. They are still up over the Minnesota Vixen by a score of 35-20. 7:26 remaining in the 4th quarter of the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game. Donna, you and I talked before the game with Pat Brown about how exciting and how much energy we were going to see from both these teams, and it has not disappointed thus far.
This has been a great game. I'm really impressed with both teams. We knew Boston had a lot of firepower coming out. Minnesota, they've been great this year, and they're showing why they won and came in and won their division and are now competing for the national championship. No one's put up a game like this against Boston all year. They've had pretty easy wins, blowing through everybody.
I mean, the highest points scored all season against the Renegades was 6 points by the DC Divas back on May 15th. So Minnesota with their 20 points, not only have they hit double digits, which nobody's done this year, they've doubled that.
Well, they've scored more points in this game than the entire league scored all year against Boston. So that's saying something right there. And the Divas, we had an injury with our quarterback going down in Boston, and that was a big challenge. No excuses. I mean, this team is doing a great job. They're putting points on the board. Great championship football.
So Boston gets the ball out of bounds at the 39-yard line. They will start 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. 7:25 remaining in the 4th quarter of this game. Pat Brown, our sideline reporter. Donna Wilkinson, excellent as always on color commentary. I am Brian Sweeney with the play-by-play for the Division I National Championship game. Allison Cahill waits for the snap. The snap is up. She has Shante Bonds, excuse me. Yeah, Shante Bonds, I was correct. Picks up 2 yards on that play, going to bring up 2nd down and 8.
Now Boston's going to be content to try to slow this game down a little bit. They're going to keep their offense going. They want to keep this clock moving.
So if you're Minnesota right now, do you take any sort of consolation in the fact that you were able to put up this many points, or are you still upset that you don't have a lead right now?
Well, you never come into the game wanting a consolation, so you're always upset when you don't win, but they're going to have to feel good about their effort against this Boston team who's coming in here strong on all phases of their game.
And you said we're going to watch them use the time. They watch the play clock count down to 3 seconds before the ball is snapped. It's a quick little pass to number 3, Stephanie Pasquale. Pasquale finds a hole. Minnesota trying to drag her out of bounds to stop the clock, but unfortunately she was taken down before that happened by number 15, Crystal Nenas of the Minnesota Vixen. So it's now 3rd down and 5, and once again we will see Cahill use clock management to run down as much time as possible.
Yeah, you can see them really easy, taking their time, getting the play in. Boston's been in this championship position, well, 4 years in a row. We look back to 2017. Boston had a tremendous run coming in as a 3rd seed, going all the way to the national championship game and losing, and it made their mission to really get strong, and you can see the difference these last 3 years. They've come back working for the championship.
Quick little pitch to number 21, Shante Bonds. Bonds finds a hole up the right-hand side, gets enough for another 1st down. That's a Metro Health 1st down, and the clock will keep running once those chains are set.
Boston fans over on their sideline getting real excited. They can smell it. The WFA has never had a team win 3 championships in a row. The Divas were poised after winning back-to-back in 2015 and 16. Came in as a top seed in 2017, lost to Boston at home in Boston's journey to the championship that they eventually lost. And here we are now with Boston with a chance to win 3 in a row, and the first time in WFA history that will ever have happened.
Allison Cahill waits for the snap. Waits till the clock almost down. Hands it off to Shante Bonds right away. Bonds met immediately by number 91 of the Minnesota Vixen. That's Sheena Reed in on that tackle.
Reed does a great job getting off the line of scrimmage. That's what we need to see every play if they want to have a chance to stop this offense. Got to get penetration in the backfield.
And so now we talked a little bit earlier about Sheena Reed. Sheena Reed has a benefit that a lot of these other players don't have, and that Sheena Reed is deaf. She wears hearing aids during practice, but during the game she typically doesn't wear them. So during a hard count, she is never going to be fooled. Her eye is always on that center with the ball, and that's how she launches herself into that backfield. Shante Bonds with the ball once again. This time she gets up to about the 40-yard line before she's taken down by Madison Schmatz. And number 82, Jocelyn Nelson, back in there on the tackle as well.
Timeout. Minnesota.
Minnesota elects to use their 2nd timeout. They will have 1 remaining with 3 minutes and 57 seconds on the clock. 35-20, Boston Renegades looking to win their 3rd straight national championship over the Minnesota Vixen. Minnesota Vixen, of course, the longest continuously running women's tackle football team in the nation. Started with the barnstorming tour, as you mentioned, against the Michigan Minx back in 1999. 4 original players are still on that field tonight. Cynthia Red Bryant, who we've mentioned her name a couple times, Jody Moose Raylander, Michelle Brown, and Emily Sundberg. The last 2 on the coaching staff, the first 2 still active players. Boston Renegades haven't been around as long, but let's be honest, the way they're playing, they will be here a long time, and for years to come, they are going to be not only a team to reckon with, but the team to beat.
Well, they've been around in different forms for 20 years. They just have not been one organization. So they've had multiple teams in Boston playing. Eventually, they scooped up all those teams together and formed one powerhouse team. And they are going for their 6th championship in team franchise history.
We have flags on the play. Cahill tossed the ball to Mana right away. It's going to be a false start.
Offense, number 88.
Against Boston.
5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Penalty on number 88, Erin Truitt. Mentioned her name earlier for a positive reason. This time, not as positive as she pushes the team back, but because the clock was running, it really hasn't hurt Boston. 3rd down and 12 based on where the sticks are. It says 3rd and 16 on the scoreboard. I'm going to go by the down markers on the field. Snap is up. Cahill hands it off to Mata. Mata breaks a tackle. Good block there by number 10, Adrian Smith, before Mata is forced out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
That'll briefly stop the clock. Smith does a great job getting that block, and you just see how strong Bonds is. She doesn't tire. She doesn't get slower during the game. Also, good job making one player miss.
4th down and 5 for Boston at the 39.
So 4th down and 5. We've got the scoreboard correct. We've got the marker sticks matching them. And of course, Boston is going to go for it here. Cahill waits for the snap. Snap is up. It's a quick throw to Pasquale. Pasquale on the right-hand side gets a key block. Escape a couple tackles, and number 32, Syl Witten, is there. And they stop the player from getting any further, but unfortunately not before another Metro Health 1st down for the Boston Renegades.
Well, that was Minnesota's, I would say, last opportunity. If they could get that stop there, they have a chance to come down, get a quick score, maybe get an onside kick, get an opportunity. That's the drive that should seal it for Boston with 3 minutes to go.
Minnesota can only stop the clock one more time, as you said, Donna. 3 minutes remaining in this game. Boston up 35-20 over the Minnesota Vixen in the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game. Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium here in Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this has been a Hall of Fame type game as Cahill keeps the ball herself, eludes a couple tackles. She's on her way to the end zone, nobody else there. And Allison Cahill does it herself, gets another touchdown for the Boston Renegades.
Well, they say she's the Tom Brady of women's football, but by the way she runs, I think she might run a little bit better than Tom Brady. Great job running into the end zone for that score. Nice little pull block by her offensive line to the races.
And that is Allison's first rushing touchdown of the season. And she's only carried the ball twice before tonight.
Well, she picked a great time to run for her first touchdown.
How exciting for her, you know, watching her in the Born to Play movie, how they followed her and her family and everything that she has done for this team is spectacular. Boston lines up for the point after. The kick is up, and it is good.
Yeah, and she's just a great person as well. When we were up playing Boston this year, the DC Divas had a really serious injury. One of the best running backs in women's football history.
Here you can see Allison Cahill breaks a few tackles. Crystal Ninas is not able to pull her down. Mugas was the last person with an opportunity to reach her ankles, but doesn't quite get there. Cahill in for the touchdown to put the Boston Renegades up 42-20 over the Minnesota Vixen.
Oh, and as I was saying, so when we had an injury, she actually put up a home and actually brought the mother of the injured player up, who had to stay in the hospital for a month undergoing surgery. Just a class act up there. Team player, but also showing her care for the league and for her opponents.
So with that touchdown to put Boston up to 42 points, the Detroit Dark Angels, who played last night, were the team this season to hold the Renegades to the least amount of points when they held them to 41 points back on June 19th. 2 minutes, 35 seconds remaining as Minnesota waits for Boston to kick them the ball. Minnesota with one more opportunity to go down the field, get themselves some more points on this board. As you stated, Minnesota's already scored more points than the rest of the league has against the Renegades this season. They would like to add to that. So Mariette Martinez's kick is up, and it goes out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down, Minnesota.
Players running off the field for the Minnesota Vixen. You can see owner Laura Brown there high-fiving them as they leave the field, congratulating them for a wonderful season, a spectacular season.
Minnesota has nothing to be ashamed about. They need to hold their heads high. They came in and battled a battle-ready, tough team. They fought all the way through. That end of the first half really killed them with those 2 scores going in, putting them down by 2 scores. But they've held strong and made this a good game.
And I just got a message that a group of Vixens is called a skulk, S-K-U-L-K. So we now have learned that, so we can use that in the future.
Tackled by a skulk of Vixens. I like it.
So Sam Barber on the reception there. Minnesota gets a new set of downs. It's 1st and 10 from their own 48-yard line. Erin McIsaac waits for the snap. Grace Cooper stands to her left. McIsaac drops back. She keeps the ball, and she's met right away this time by number 72 of the Boston Renegades. That's Laura Hula.
That hole closed real quickly because she thought she might have a little seam up the middle. Nothing doing.
And the game is over. The Muskets will go off again.
Minnesota loss of 4 on that play. 2nd down and 14. Snap is back. Pass is going, almost intercepted that time by number 24, Brianna Gallo. Pass was intended. Looks like it was intended for number 11, Kaya Segula. Gallo with great coverage, read McIsaac's eyes.
Great read and break on that ball. Just unable to come up with the catch.
Minute 35 remaining, 4th quarter. Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game. Pat Brown down on the sideline. We'll have a quick little interview immediately after the game. He's over on the Boston Renegades sideline. You know, it's his birthday tonight. If I had a way of getting a message to the team, I would have them dump a jug of Gatorade, or excuse me, a jug of Aid Nation on Pat Brown.
Oh, a little happy birthday celebration for him. Great coverage, Pat.
McIsaac's pass is up, intended for Sam Barber. This time it is picked off. Who is that? Picked off by number 24 of the Boston Renegades. That's Brianna Gallo with the interception. There is a flag back on the 35-yard line.
And there was an additional little hit there on the Minnesota player by number 13 from Boston. That's Singletary.
Referees will sort out the flag.
That shouldn't be offside.
I didn't even see it. I guess it's like more like discussing to figure out what they want to do with it.
Boston Renegade fans already singing "We Are the Champions."
Pass interference. Defense number 13. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So pass interference against the Boston Renegades. So Minnesota manages to keep the ball. I don't really see it, but I am not an official.
Must have been the player on coverage. It obviously wasn't the intercepting player.
So Minnesota now 1st and 10 from Boston's 40-yard line. A minute 17 remaining in this game. Looking to get another touchdown on the board. McIsaac waits for the snap. Sam Barber stands to her left. She drops back. Barber throws, Cooper was standing to her left. Barber was who the pass was intended for that goes out of bounds.
Robert Kraft said that they wanted them to bring their 6th championship home and flew the team out here. Since that's how the Patriots won their 6th championship, he says if you win, we'll wait and take it back. So I guess Boston has a ride back home on the Patriots team jet.
So we're not going to see a bunch of people out on the highway here with their thumbs in the air at the end of this game.
I guess that's good news for Boston at this point.
2nd down and 10 for the Minnesota Vixen. Minute 11 remaining in the fourth quarter. Boston looking to win their third consecutive national championship. Third championship in 4 tries. The snap is up. McIsaac launches the ball into the air, and it is almost intercepted once again by the Boston Renegades because there was no Vixen players when that ball was coming down.
She just sort of threw that ball up. She might have been under a little bit of pressure there, just trying to get it off.
That looked like number 84, Megan McFadden from the Boston Renegades, that almost picked off that ball. Minnesota 1 timeout remaining, Boston with 3. I can't see a reason that Boston won't end this game with all 3 of their timeouts.
If they didn't get that pass interference, the game would be over by now.
Third down and 10. Minnesota Vixen on the Renegades 40-yard line. McIsaac, the quarterback. She's got 2 receivers to her left, 2 receivers to her right. Pocket collapses quick. It's a quick little handoff. That's number 87 of the Minnesota Vixen. That's Janessa White that receives the ball. Gets all the way up to the 32-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and 2 for the Minnesota Vixen.
Minnesota's trying to take advantage of that big Boston rush. Gets a little screen over the top.
And Minnesota uses their 3rd and final timeout. So we're not going to see what Detroit did last night when Nevada was taking the knee to wind down the clock, and Detroit called the timeout to stop their celebration.
They just wanted to extend Nevada's celebration a little bit longer. Tonight, I feel like Minnesota wants to try to see if they can squeeze out one more score here. They're still playing for their pride. They're playing for each other.
Reader, get over here. Good job over there.
All right, 4th down and 2. Without a first down conversion here, this will be the last play of the game for the Minnesota Vixen. Grace Cooper stands to Aaron McIsaac's right. Waits for Charlie Barber-Cook to snap the ball. Sam Barber in motion. Ball is handed off to Cooper. Cooper gets enough for the first down. Cooper finding her way. She's down to the 10, the 5, and she's in. Is she in? Touchdown, Minnesota Vixen. Grace Cooper gets in one more time. The Minnesota Vixen fight has not ended.
They're still in this game mentally, emotionally. They know they don't really have a chance to win, but they are still fighting, and that's great to see.
You mentioned that the Vixen were playing for pride, and they are. You can see here on the replay, McIsaac fakes the handoff, but then does actually hand it off to Grace Cooper, who eludes a few tackles, almost gets taken down by the last minute by a couple of Renegades players, but gets just in next to the pylon to give the Vixen another 6 points.
I know.
So they're going to go for 2 again. And this time, the 2-point conversion is no good. So with 47 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter of the Women's Football Alliance Division I National Championship game, the Boston Renegades lead the Minnesota Vixen by a score of 42-26. Brian Sweeney, Mr. Announcer Guy on Twitter, Donna Wilkinson, wonderful to work with you every year for this game. Pat Brown down on the sideline getting us the interviews, the injury updates, and all those great things that help make this broadcast a success. Donna, this has probably been the most fun you and I have had calling not only a national championship game, but we can also say a Boston Renegades game.
Well, this is the greatest venue that we've called a game in, being here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of the closest games we've called as Boston's really kind of run away with their other championship wins. And excited for you because you're coming from Minnesota and you're getting here to watch your home team compete for this national championship. Nothing better than, watching the team that you follow day in and day out, that you cover, that you do all this work for, be represented here on the national stage.
And I have done my best to be as neutral as possible, gotten excited for both teams. So if at any time it may have seemed like my love for Minnesota was a little bit stronger, I do apologize to the fans of the Boston Renegades, but the love goes both ways. Tonight, I'm an employee of the Women's Football Alliance, and I'm here to give you the best coverage possible.
Absolutely, and all my years competing against Boston, you know, I have to have this sort of love-hate relationship. You know, we love to play them, but we hate to lose, and it's just been a great rivalry to have, you know, Boston in my life for 20 years in different forms, and to be here covering them in this national championship game, it's an honor for me as well, and I'm grateful for the chance to work with you and Pat down on the sideline. We do have a lot of fun. I know the teams are going to have a lot of fun tonight, especially Boston, as they celebrate this 3rd championship and 6th in team franchise history.
So Boston takes the knee. The clock will continue to wind. There'll have to be one more snap, I believe, or will this be enough to end the game?
Well, it doesn't even look like they are.
Yeah, they don't even have the play clock going. So
play clock.
Hugs have already started. There's Coach John Johnson of the Boston Renegades. Had an opportunity to talk with him a few times this year. Talked with him in person before the game. Wished him the best of luck, as I did to head coach of the Minnesota Vixen, Ryan McCulley. Always great to be here. And there is the final gun. John Johnson getting the Aiden Nation bucket bath on top of him. The Boston Renegades are your 2021 Women's Football Alliance Division I national champions by a score of 42-26 over the Minnesota Vixen.
Wow.
And right away, we're going to send it down to Pat Brown. Pat Brown, I know if you can't hear me or not, but you should be there with the head coach of the Renegades, Pat. All right, so Pat's microphone feed has gone down. Some issues there on the sideline. I mean, John Johnson, congratulations. You're getting that from myself, from Donna Wilkinson. You've done something that no other coach in the Women's Football Alliance has ever done, and you have won 3 championships in a row. The teams are crossing the field to shake each other's hands. Donna, we saw a great game tonight. I mean, there's no doubt about it that both of these teams came here ready to play for a championship. Boston, they had a few turnovers. They were heavy on the penalties, something that they haven't done all season. Yet in the end, they did what they did best. They used Shantae Bonds, they used Allison Cahill, they used Ruth Mata, and they put points on the board.
And I think the real key points is when Boston had those turnovers. If Minnesota had been able to take advantage of them and not turn the ball right over, I think we might have had a different game. This might have been a one-score or very close game. But unfortunately, right after they got that ball, they turned it back over and negated that opportunity to really keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not wrong there. I mean, twice Minnesota had an opportunity, because when Minnesota received the ball off a Boston turnover, they were already in Boston territory. So they had an opportunity to go down the field and score, but unfortunately, both times they fumbled the ball.
And that one right before the half, that was big, going up an extra score with just seconds to go in the half, really giving Boston that advantage at halftime.
And now here's something, if people are watching right now at home still, the NFL Films crew is here. And that says a lot about the advancement of this game. And not only that, but the fact of what the Hall of Fame means to women's football right now. This has been a great facility. They have been wonderful hosts to us all weekend. Everything from the youth girls football clinic Friday morning to flag football, to the after party, which is coming up. We had meet and greets. We had food from Bubba's 33, Aiden Nation, Zenith. We had all these great sponsors that are stepping up to support women's football and take it to the next level. And we will be back here in the Hall of Fame, Tom Benson Stadium, for 4 more years after tonight.
This is really exciting and good news for women's football. We've been working so hard for so long. This is the 21st year women's football has actually had league play. It's gone through a number of different leagues and organizations to get to this point. Right now, the WFA is the biggest standing league in women's football amongst others that do exist. And to have this opportunity to have NFL Films, actually they're out here really covering Allison Cahill and the job that she's doing up there as quarterback. And really congratulations to Allison for getting that attention for the work you put into your craft and your game over the years. I've seen you grow as a quarterback year after year, and the effort that you've put in is really noticeable, and congratulations.
You know, and Allison Cahill, I mean, she deserves a spot in that building just behind the visitor stands as much as anybody else that we've seen play this game.
Well, absolutely, she does, and a number of women's football players throughout the history. Sammy Grisafi, who we saw singing the national anthem, also a player that should be in that Hall of Fame. Allison Hamlin, our all-time great quarterback, another Hall of Fame-worthy player. And when we look back through the history of women's football, there are so many great women and names. It's just awesome to see them being honored here at the NFL Hall of Fame. And when you go in, you still do see a few women's items in there. You see a Pittsburgh Passion poster. You see Jen Welter, the first woman to ever coach in the NFL. She's in the Hall of Fame. I think it's time now for the NFL to start recognizing the work that women have been putting in and providing more spots in the NFL Hall of Fame for the women, as well as the Women's Football Hall of Fame that we do have on our own.
And I mean, you are 100% correct with all of that. It's such a great time to be here, and you know, it works so well that we are up here broadcasting this game for people around the nation and around the world. We talked earlier, we had people from Australia watching the game last night, and now we are going to send it down to Pat for the coach interview.
All right, we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm here with Coach John Johnson, 3-time national champion. And Coach, I know with this historic field, the aura, how does it feel to be 3-time division champ?
Feels great. You know, it's hard to win a championship one time, never mind win it 3 times. So just an amazing feeling, and nothing can beat it.
Tell me about your players that's been with you for 5, 6, 7 years, what this means to them.
It means everything. We talk about legacy, and, you know, the people before them that started this whole thing in Boston, there's still a lot of people with the organization are still with the organization. And it was really fitting that we came to Canton and went to the Hall of Fame and learned the history of the NFL, because it kind of coincided with our story, and it really resonated with our players. And you know, you can tell the way they rallied together and they dealt with adversity today. I mean, that was a great team that we played, and they dealt with it. They understood they had to dig deep, and they got the job done.
Last question, Coach, so you can go celebrate. The Minnesota Vixen, the history behind them. You were supposed to play 2 years ago. You finally got to play them. How does it feel to have history just here and with them?
You know, it's amazing. I mean, they're a great organization. They run from the top down. They run very similar to us. We're kind of like them, really, because they started before us. So they're really the founders of the league, being here for such a long time. And to be able to play them and have 2 teams with very similar personalities, the style of play is very similar. No one gives up. They play to the end of the whistle. They don't care what the score is. They're just going to keep grinding, play the next play, and have that kind of mentality. So to play them in this setting, it's perfect. I think it's a perfect situation for the league, and it was great for the fans that were here watching it.
I say congratulations, Coach. Go and celebrate and have a great time, and enjoy that flight back by Robert Kraft. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Back to you, Brian. That's a great birthday present, I tell you.
Thank you, Pat. So the MVP awards are going on right now for the Minnesota Vixen. The MVP was number 42, Grace Cooper. Grace did what she's done all season long, Donna. She got yards for Minnesota when they needed it. She got touchdowns for Minnesota when they had to happen. And for the Boston Renegades, the MVP, I mean, who else was it going to be? Number 7, Allison Cahill, the quarterback. I mean, how exciting is it for both of these women to represent the epitome of this sport right now?
And you see the love the Boston team has for Cahill, all chanting MVP. They're all happy for her. They're glad to be a part of this. Congratulations, Allison. Great job.
And your runner-up is the Minnesota Vixen.
Minnesota Vixen coaches and ownership group there, collecting the runner-up check, making their way over to meet with the commissioner, Lisa King. $2,000. I mean, that helps a team. I mean, let's be honest. As you know, for a team that has to pay to play to get to the national championship game, head coach Ryan McCulley, offensive coordinator Sean Matson, owner Laura Brown, vice president of the team James Brown, with the commissioner Lisa King and Wynn Dumney.
And great to have these sponsors coming in with sponsored checks for the winning team. Another addition to what we're doing here in women's football. A lot of times these teams have come out and had to play in the national championship game, pay their way all the way through without any compensation coming back. So very grateful to our sponsors for offering this opportunity for the women.
Grant to you 2021 champions, Boston Renegades.
And of course we can hear public address announcer Tommy Parker congratulating the Boston Renegades, having their owner Molly Goodwin.
Molly Goodwin, a former player, really intense player, one of those kind of, you know, all-out folks.
Molly doing a lap to show the fans right away that trophy before she poses with her picture. Thank you to Zenith Equipment Company for their amazing sponsorship of not only this game, but the league as a whole. Great uniform packages put together for all teams across the league.
We're grateful for all our sponsors and for all those that look at this game and said, wow, we want to support women's football. Get involved, pull out your pocketbook, you know, support women's football. We've been doing this for the love of the game, but it's time to get the financial backing so that we can continue to grow and evolve this sport, not only for ourselves, but for future generations, for all the girls that look up to these women, who see them as their role models, who see strong women as powerful and beautiful and something to look up to. That's really strong.
You know, and you mentioned people that want to support, people that want to play as well. Follow Women's Football Alliance across social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow your teams. Go Renegades on Twitter. Minnesota_Vixen or MN_Vixen on Twitter. They will post when their tryouts are going to be. They typically start happening every year in October. So for Donna Wilkinson, Pat Brown, my name is Brian Sweeney. I want to thank you for joining us from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio for the Women's Football Alliance National Championship. Your final score today, the Boston Renegades with 42 and the Minnesota Vixen with 26. We will see you next year right back here in the same place. Donna, thank you. Pat, thank you. Congratulations to your 2021 Women's Football Alliance Division I National Champions, the Boston Renegades.
I thought, okay, well, girls can't play football.
I love hitting people. I'm good at it.
Well, there's never going to be a black head coach. There's never going to do this. You're wasting blah, blah, blah.
Hashtags won't stop, bullets, gunshots, prime time, shot cloud.
They televise ping pong. You know what I'm saying?
This is the arrival.
Honestly, it was like, I did like a triple take.
Everyone's looking, okay, here's a girl.
It was the first time having a girl in our meetings and stuff like that. I didn't know what to think.
I know it's hard to believe. Come and see it, come and experience it. Once they do, we have fans.
Everything I wanna know it all. I'd spend 10